Tonight, bringing you this week's flight sim news with thanks to SayIntentions, we check out the updated Bristol 188, flying boat port of calls, Netherthorpe Airfield from Burning Blue Design, and the MOZA MGX1000. Hello? Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Yes, it's Wednesday, the middle of the week, the halftime show, the midweek shuffle. You're all very welcome aboard to tonight's news, where there's nothing else going on anywhere else on the internet or the world. There's nothing else on. It's only here. Yes. By the way, my audio was very loud. I noticed that. So if I'm very loud, I'm terribly sorry. I don't know what happened. I didn't change anything this time. The computer decided to do an update, and now all my levels are in the red. We don't know why these things happen, friends, but you're all very welcome in. Tonight, yes, of course, the A220 is getting a showcase over on the MSFS official channel, and England take on Argentina in the football in the World Cup semi-finals. But here, friends, well, this is where you catch up on all your news. For you see, tonight we're checking out the updated Bristol 188, the historic testing aircraft. We're also going to be checking out Netherthorpe Airfield from Burning Blue Design. We have a mad one called Flying Boat Port of Call. Yeah, right? Ports of Call, rather. This is a really interesting project. And yes, we will be checking out the MOZA MGX1000, based, of course, on Garmin's G1000 unit. But more importantly, we have two very bits of important information to share with you, if I can speak English. First and foremost, can we get a round of applause and a congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Toto, for they are celebrating their 21st wedding anniversary this evening. It's just like yesterday when you walked down the aisle. No doubt Mr. Toto was cleaning engine oil off his hands. Right? Mrs. Toto probably drove a motorbike. Do you know what I mean? But 21 years wedding anniversary. Congratulations. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And then our second bit of news, Jaken's dad, he's turned 70. He turned 70 yesterday. Massive congratulations on your continued success, Jaken's dad. Happy birthday, buddy, and yeah, welcome to that club of the 70s. Let us know how you get on. We're all heading that direction, you know. There's a few ahead of you, mind you. Muse fan, anyway. But hope you're all keeping well. Busy one tonight, and the weather. What did I say? So it's 20. It says it's 24 degrees outside. It's 28 in here at the moment. Aircon giving it socks. For the first time, I've noticed both PCs are like roaring. Ah! Yeah, right. And I have additional cameras and all that sort of stuff set up as well to cover this MGX1000. I think you're going to like this one. So, yes, We shall buckle in there now, lads. We're going to knuckle down and get into it. If anyone's watching the match, do keep us posted. And of course, all the news from the A220 live stream from Synaptic and I&I builds, we'll be catching up on that as well as the week goes, no doubt. And yes, I do appreciate you guys stopping off here to say hello. You're very kind. It's a very busy night, you know. What do we want to watch? 22 fellas kicking a white ball. Developers talking about something pretty cool. Or an Egypt from Ireland talking absolute... Oh, come here! The Skoda passed! Yes! The Skoda passed the national car test. Flying colours, lads. Your man even said to me, that's a superb car. I said, it is! It's a Skoda Superb. That's amazing. So, car, fresh bill of health, away she goes there now. Absolutely fantastic news. Isn't it brilliant? And then apart from that then, I've to knuckle down now this weekend into audio. Not looking forward to it because it takes ages. You know what I mean? What did I bribe them with? Shut up, you! I didn't bribe them at all. Bribe them? What are you talking about? But anyway, great news, fantastic news. Because I was driving down, I went down to Nina this morning. I was up early and it was lovely. It was grand and cool outside and driving in the Skoda. That's how you drive the Skoda. You kind of, you know, you do that shoulder number. You drove down and went to the man behind the desk. My name? Yes, there's my name. Gave him the keys and I said, be careful. There's a lot of horses under that bonnet. Yara, he didn't really understand what I was saying. But anyway, about 25 minutes later, he called me name and he said, yeah, that's all grand. What? I mean, yes, of course it is. Damn straight. Do you know? And there was a fella down there with... he was trying to get the VRT in it. There was a fella with an enormous Massey Ferguson tractor, big red one, you know. I was going to take a picture of it and then he, you know, looked at me and I would have been a sado. So I didn't, but I saw a big massive tractor. It looked very nice. If you're into tractors, of course, but if it's red, leave it in the shed. I'm a John Deere man, right? But anyway, that's kind of my morning, bringing you up to date what goes on here in the Murph Manor. What else did I do? Did I do anything stupid today? I could have now, it's me, you know. I did a bit of testing earlier on. I actually saw Belbro flying around in a Dauphin. Went up for a quick jaunt. But that was about it, do you know. So we'll get into it, lads, because it is a busy one tonight. And I'll try not to be too distracting, right? At 25 past, you know, I'm putting on the Borat costume. I'm only, no, could you imagine? We'd be cancelled. Would it be some crack, wouldn't it? I mean, my own. Right, anyway, who's here, look, on this Wednesday evening? D. White, good evening. Super Typhon, you're very welcome aboard. Creo is in the house from County Mayo, welcome in. Vacuum, good to see you. Hermit Something, very good afternoon to Boston, hope you're well. Mrs. TPHI, she's upside down, she's inappropriate, and she's here. It's good to see you, Mrs. Now, let me see. Commander Bolosh, happy Wednesday. It's Smithers is here, Toto 2495, and Mrs. Toto, welcome in, guys, and congratulations. Massive news. Brilliant. Norse Viking, good to see you. Fierce Wolf, looking fierce. And Wolfie. The Forgetful Larry is in the house. Good to see you, Larry. Viper Strike is here. Good to see you. Now, let me see. Spitfire, Oriev 100 is here in the chat. Happy Wednesday. Andy 11, welcome. Billy, welcome in, Billy. Hope you're well. Leo is here. Good to see you. Maple Leaf, welcome in. Where's this now? We've buttons. Look, Bellbro, good to see you, buddy. And a bit of flyage earlier on. Restoring is in the house. Bellbro is checking in from where? EBFN. How do you pronounce that one? Is it Verune in Belgium? Yeah, let's pretend it is. Soaring AJ, welcome in, buddy. Hope all is well. Mac Vision is here. Malky, good evening. The Impossible Face is in the house, along with Medic 24 Life. Good evening, lads. You're looking great. Nick, good evening. Mugan is here. Hope all is well. Now, where's this? We've buttons down here. Super Ty, thank you for 10 in a row. Very kind of you. Liptorius, welcome aboard. Tarnish Mossman, 7 in a row. Cheers, buddy. Hope you're well. DC Viper. I don't know why this stream is so loud compared to others. Yeah, it's shocking. I shagged it. It was grand. Well, it was never. I was always loud. You know, you have to be. I have so many things to say. Most of it is rubbish, but what I do say, I'm. You know, you'll hear me before you see me. But anyway, where's this now? We've buttons over here. Look, D. White, he's rooting for Argentina. Jesus. CP is here, good evening. Elric, you're very welcome aboard. The Boise, good to see you. Lurking while watching a quite important football match. Yes, the football. Visualize, welcome in, buddy. Mr. Dan is here. Filthy is good to see you. Digital Merc is in the house, welcome aboard. Sunjammer, good evening. Murph, have his lowest numbers watching tonight as a strange game is going on in the United States. I never worry about numbers. It's literally only us. There's 7 of us. Yes, doesn't matter. Because if you start worrying about things like that, you'll get grey hair and a receding hairline. What? Right, but anyway, Linny Bobbins is here. 'Tis herself. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Idle Cutoff is here. Cambridge calling. Hello from Tipperary. 24 degrees. It was 27 degrees earlier on. Jesus. 27. Right. Who's in charge? McKay is here. Good to see you. Who else came into the door now? Sim Guy, a very good afternoon. Hope all is well. Visualize, thank you for 10 in a row. You're very welcome in. Now, where's this now? The only news I have for today is that after flying the Dauphin, well, she's a blast. It's so much fun, isn't it? I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. But yes, Jay, congratulations to you, buddy. Let's have a look here now. Elric, good evening. Top of the week and time for the news. It is just time for the news. Indeed it is. There's a bit of news. There's a couple of cool stuff in the news tonight. We've and I get to give you information of what's going on behind the scenes of Say Intentions as well. This is going to be brilliant. There's great stuff. Wait till you see what's going to be talked about. But yes, how are you getting on with the Stream Deck XL Plus? It's here in front of me. I'm using it here now. So, like, I've buttons here now. Does this one? Jesus, Murphy, you look very pale. Yes, I can do things like that now. But it's not ready yet. She's not ready for, prime time. It's just sitting up here out of the way. But yes, I'm getting used to it. It is you, be Janie then, right. But anyway, where are we at now? Brillar Gaming, good to see you. Hope you're well. Historic Crew Stadium only seats like 25,000. Really? Windows shagging audio settings. Say it isn't so. Malky, it's like, what? I didn't do anything. And then it all changes. It looked like a ghost version of you. Yes. Yes, when Murphy realises he's wrong, or has like travel sickness. Where is this now? Uniform Goose, good to see you, buddy. Hide your wallets, right? Watching small hands pressing buttons as well. Good man, Sunjammer. Right. But yes. Here is where the crack is. It is. There's always crack here. Loads of crack. I'm Pierce. Welcome aboard. Who else come in the door now, lads? There's Mrs. Toto. Look. You're very welcome in. Now, buttons have to be pressed. Old Veteran 965 has rumbled in. Scott, a very happy Wednesday. Muse! Jesus, I just turned on the stream and he's already given out about me. What are you talking about? I was complimenting you. It's good to see you, man. Welcome in and happy Wednesday. Where's this now? Andy, welcome in. The match has started feisty, as you would imagine. You can see a red card or two. Oh yeah, there'd be killings in this. Wasn't it way back in the day? Didn't Beckham knock over an Argentinian and got sent off? Do you remember when that happened back in the day? Right. I'd rather watch the Big Age from Ireland. Come on, Mug. So would I. OMG, that's like England winning. Wait, what? Big Al, good to see you. 98 Vulcan is here, good to see you. Welcome in, lads. Horses or donkeys? Horses. They were after they were put out to pasture. Don't eat burgers from Tesco. Right. I'm like Jeremy Clarkson. I want a Lamborghini tractor. Yes. Mr. TBHI, when he pulled in with the car, they all looked at each other and said, that Egypt must also fly a DC-6. Do you know, they knew I flew a DC-6 and immediately pass him. That's what happens when you fly a DC-6. Yeah, things happen. I'm also going to win the lottery tonight and have my teeth whitened when I wake up without even knowing. Brilliant! All these things happen when you fly a DC-6. Didn't know where I was going to go with that. But anyway, Mr. TBHI, good to see you, buddy. Now, let's have a look. Noel Jaron, welcome in. You were there. Although I'm partial to Kubota power equipment, those engines are just bulletproof. Kubota, never heard of them. Here, Murph, do you want the Caravan to fly on air tomorrow? Yes, please, Malky. Yes, I would very much like to fly the Caravan tomorrow with our on-air stuff. Yes. Tony Top Sausage is here. Good to see you, Tony. Brilliant. Right. Home Wrecker, welcome in. Hello to County Cork. Norris Viking is 31 degrees. Jesus. Swap 21 is here. I can hear, like, do you know what I'm hearing? It's like a bearing. You heard it. And then it stops. And then it starts again. CPU is running between 80 and 90% at 74 degrees. GPU is running at 87% at 70 degrees.
That's a big 10-4, good buddy.
she's running well, I can tell you. She's running very hot or very hard or something. But anyway, yes, it's all happening now. Huge, yes. Big Al, Murph, did you see the rescue guy out the Dauphin? I didn't try it yet, Al. Not yet. Now, let me see. Zybok Doc is calling from Denmark. Hello from Tipperary. You're looking well. Buttons. Nutty Taff is here. Good to see you. Let's see. Heisenberg. No news is good news. Wait, that can't be right. Good to see you, buddy. Looking forward to catching up with you next week. Muttley is here. Gar Gaming. Hello to all in County Galway. Now, let's see. Whereabouts? Oh, just from the main machine. Could be the 5090. Although everything else is running fairly lively. So I'm not quite sure. Sounds hot. Press escape on your sim. Yeah, that could probably do it. You got the Raphael on the Mega News. Well, we have the trailer for it. Yes, we do. We do have the trailer for it, friends. Oh, which airport for the caravan? Cags, I suppose. Kilo Alpha Golf Sierra. Cags. We'll have a look there. To our friends on the tube, so-called Jerry is here. Good to see you, Jerry. Dave JSB, welcome aboard. Kieran Nile is here. Northland Air, a very happy Wednesday. Dave Cleary, legend Dave. Welcome aboard. Good to see you, Dave. Black Sheep Gene is here, but his wallet isn't. You're brilliant. Good to see you, Gene. Hope all is well. Saren is here. Welcome aboard. Let me see. Air Tropic is here. Welcome in. Flyboy Dyer, good to see you, buddy. And who else? JP Gaming, Thrustset Simulations, Kubi Montana is here as well. And Angels 1-5. Lads, you're all very welcome in. Great to see so many familiar faces. You are looking absolutely gorgeous now. Gorgeous. Right. Will we get started? Will we get started now? And if everything starts getting very loud, well, we'll see what happens. We're going to come back to this scene in a little bit because I have all this to show you. I better put this up out of the way so I don't break anything. Yeah, right. That's a big MOZA MGX1000. We've been having a look at this now in a while, right? Fear not, friends. I just want to make sure I don't completely make a balls of it. And then I have a camera over here, look. This is terribly sophisticated. Hang on now. If I do this, will this show you the setup, look? Hang on now, I'll do this, look. Will this work? Buttons, Murphy. Oh, Janie look, it does, and you can see me face in the thing. Ah, look, it's brilliant. Right, you can see the reflection of myself with my face in the... Right. Anyway, yeah, we're going to be having a look at this gadget gizmo here now in a moment. And I wanted to place... See, my hands are massive, look. I wanted to place this here. So we wouldn't have the shaky hand syndrome. Right. And now for you, those of you who are watching vertically... We have one set up for you as well, look. Oh, yeah. It's a thing with a yoke, look. Right. So we'll be showing that off here now.
Can I get a refund?
No, you can't get a refund. You can check off. We'll be having an old gonk at that here now, lads, in just a little bit. But before we do, look him over here. You're right. And we're going to get started, friends. We're going to get started because we've quite a bit to cover. Right. We have sounds, yes. Where's this now? They're very close, not massive. Shut up. Who asked you? They were massive. Right. Now, right. Let's have a look here. I'd you be worried about all machines making noises? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, we're going to start off with the news because we've a bit of news to get through tonight, lads. And we'll start off. Ding. No, that didn't work. Try it again. Ding. There she goes. Now, what we have here is news from MSFS add-ons.com and FS Elite that we're going to cover here now. So, of course, yes, the Rafale is almost here with Azure Poly releasing the official trailer and confirms a summer release for Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. Do you know when the Synaptic live stream is on? Chef, it's on right now, but I'm not going to tell you in case you leave here and go there. No, it's on right now. Head on over to the MSFS official channel. The guys are streaming it live right now. Do you know? There's buttons being pressed here, lads. Thank you very much indeed. Viber, thank you very much indeed for the bits. Throwing his bits around the place, so he is. Murph, you say your hands make everything look so much bigger. Yeah, sure. What? Yeah, right. Anyway, moving on. The Raphael. Yes, very much looking forward to this. And we have a trailer here. Now, we've been following along with the development update on this. It's officially endorsed by Dassault. They're like, yeah, that's one of ours. And we do have a trailer. Can't use the music, obviously, but we'll have an old gawk ding over on the tube. And I'll show you the crack of this, because this is... Well, this is friggin' mad looking, right? We'll play a bit of music here to kind of make this thing work. Are you ready? We'll do a bit of Bijani then. And, I don't even know who pressed that button. I don't even know if you heard what I just heard, but there was noises from Toto2495. Jesus. Toto2495 in with 10 gifted tier 1 subs because he's a mad lad. Thank you very, very much indeed. Toto, you're so nuts. Jay, a cheeky 10 gifties from Toto. Yes, did you see what he did? Jesus. Toto, thank you very, very much. Lads, if you got a tier 1 sub, do be sure to say thank you to Toto2495. I just bashed my hand. It was very sore. But anyway, yes, the Azure Poly with the Raphael. And as you can see here, it looks beautiful, right? The modeling, texture work, all of that is just top of the range, but they've also included in weapon systems, which is very interesting because it's not just, you know, press a button and pew pew away you go. There's active targeting on it as well. Very, very impressive stuff, right? So yes, there's stuff being shot down and all the jazz. Now you can't exactly attack other multiplayer aircraft. There's modules and all this kind of stuff. We'll learn more about how these systems work, but it can track aircraft. It can use a radar lock-on. So maybe if you do hit them, they won't know, but you'll see it. Right, does look very good though. Amarty is here, good to see you. Goblin Zeus, welcome aboard. Good to see you, lads. Razzy's here. Oh dear, thank you and hello. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. But yeah, it looks absolutely brilliant. We don't have an idea of the price. If I were to, I couldn't even hazard a guess. I'd probably say 40 or 50 bucks. Echo 19 has done the sound for the aircraft, which is absolutely savage, right? And Azure Poly, they've just, you know, they go from strength to strength. They have made some incredible aircraft in the sim. Incredible. And I'm very, very excited to seeing how this one then shapes up. It's very much kind of a high level simulation of the aircraft. Looking forward to it. We don't have a price. All we know is it's due to release in the summer. So it's very close. Very, very close. Not at the end of the summer. They just said during the summer. So they're in the final polishing stages. So this should be fun, right? One note for PS5 pilots, third-party products currently being introduced gradually on the platform by invitation. And while Azure Poly is already part of that process with the JAG and the Transall, the team cannot yet confirm whether the Raphael will arrive on PlayStation. For now, the summer release covers PC and Xbox only. All right, so still good news, and let's see what happens. Moving on, we had a look at this aircraft late last night. You lads kept me up all night watching this thing. No, they don't shoot down DC-6s. And anyone even coming up with that idea, you can go to the bold corner. I'm going to create a bold corner. I need a whiteboard, and I'm just going to write people's names in it. What is this? It's the bold corner. That you're going to make me do that, right? But anyway, Coronado have released their Dornier D0228 for Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. It also works with the Career, a couple of different mission types, air ambulance, and so on, right? Now, what we have here, I had a look at it last night. There's a couple of bugs. There's a couple of shortcomings. It's Coronado, so visually stunning, right? The sounds on this are exceptionally good. Animations and all that kind of stuff. It actually flies really nicely. I just haven't figured out the engines yet because, you know, it broke. But a couple of bugs. So the bugs would be the overhead circuit breakers are reversed. There is no ITT logic, right? And a couple of buttons on the main panel don't work either, or at least they don't work as expected. No doubt we'll see a release of an update, and then that'll be it. Coronado will work on their next aircraft. That's what they do. But it is a beautiful looking airplane, and we flew it last night, and it was fun. I have to say, I enjoyed flying it. It's a multi-role aircraft, passenger, cargo, medical, and it is nice to fly. And it is absolutely typical Coronado stuff, DC Viper, what you get here, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It is what it is. They don't hide around it. That's what they do. So, like, same old, right? It handles a little bit differently. I will give it that. Between the Coronado fleet, they can get a little bit samey. This one at least feels a little bit heavier. She's a little bit more liable to kind of roll and mess and do this kind of stuff. And I've only flown it for the first time yesterday for a little bit. So I was impressed by it. That's my honest opinion. I was impressed by it. It's available on the marketplace. We'll probably give it a proper shakedown next week, lads. For those of you who are interested, if you're finger on the button wanting to buy, if you go back onto last night's video after we flew the TBM, we messed around with this for a while. All right. Wasn't a criticism. Okay. Yeah. No, that's okay. No, it doesn't have to be criticism or otherwise. Look, Coronado have, over the last, 4 aircraft, kind of delved a little bit deeper on this kind of hyper realistic, where they put shakes into avionics and all this kind of stuff. But this one was released with a few issues, just a few, but anyway, Viper, just brutal. You're like the boy who cried wolf, But anyway, it was a bit of crack flying this. Bold in Ireland also means naughty. Don't ask why, because none of us know. Oh, the naughty corner, the bold corner. Oh yeah, that's the naughty corner. So, but then we'd have to put naughty in there. That wouldn't make sense. But anyway, the DO228, I think is a nice release. It's a very interesting airplane. And Dornier, of course, they have a lot of history, right? But the aircraft, it was flown, I think it's still flown by the Kustvacht in the Netherlands, but it's also flown worldwide. It's a multi-role aircraft, but it does look good. The modelling and the paintwork, the reflections, this is top notch. Coronado are always strong in that department, and this one, it's like they're flexing in front of the mirror. Oh, so look at my muscles. They're doing that because this thing really does look great. And they worked a lot of custom sounds into it as well. I'm very impressed by it. I think it's great, right? But anyway, moving on. It's 27 bucks, by the way, 27 euros, right? The sounds are good, Hammerdale. Sounds are good. So yeah, we'll probably take a deeper dive into this next week. I'll put that on my reminder as I press some buttons here. Let's see here now. DO228. Right, that's gone into my little reminder things of reminding to do stuff. All right. So moving on, FS Labs have pushed out quite a large update with the FMGC overhaul, V-Pilot support, and Rosefire partnership. So for a good stretch around the turn of the year, the story around Flight Sim Labs wasn't about aircraft at all. It was about the silence. Back in February, they wrote the A321neo's prolonged inactivity had become the story itself, and a day later, the dev responded with the long-awaited Pratt & Whitney engine update. A performance-focused patch followed 2 weeks after that. The fair question at the time was whether the burst of activity was a reaction to public pressure or the start of more sustained rhythm. Hard to say when the next updates come now, 5 months later, but a new update, which is a substantial one, has just released for both the CEO and NEO variant of the A321. And it pretty much covers everything on the aircraft, anything from the flight management, flight guidance, ground operations, online connectivity, even home cockpit hardware. And it's available now through the experimental channel of the FS Labs Control Center. So the FMGC gets the deep clean treatment. The bulk of the work goes into that. It's a wide sweep rather than a single headline fix. Lateral and vertical revisions, predictions, arrivals and departures, along with airways, secondary flight plans, performance pages and GPS monitoring have all received attention here. Along the specific FS Labs highlights are the improved vertical REV behavior and also the refined step altitude logic. Handling has also been reworked, with both the CEO and NEO receiving updates to its roll and pitch behavior, the drag curves, yaw stability, rotation, and so on. Online flyers, probably great news for those using the likes of VATSIM. It now has a com page which integrates with V-Pilot, and CPDLC support has been expanded with the new European station formats. ATS has also been improved to show FSLTL call signs on traffic, which should make busy online skies feel a bit more alive. They also mention fixes to routing import, the SID and star handling, and AOC stability. On top of that, ground operations get some fixes too, with GTS integration have been updated. And we also have this new hardware support from Rosefire. The arrival of the new weather radar. Where's this now? Sorry, the hardware of the update. FS Labs have added new SimConnect events, including GPWS, DU controls, ACP, lighting, weather radar, cockpit door controls, and so on. Transponder screen output has been extended, a home cockpit sound mode has been added, and weather radar tilt is now implemented. The last one, a bit of nice closure, when it was covered that the arrival of the WXR 2100 radar back in January with manual tilt adjustment was the notable omission. Year and a half later, they have it. The bigger news, though, it's confirmed to be working with Rosefire and WingFlex to integrate into the hardware directly. And the initial focus on the WingFlex overhead and also the Rosefire A111 and A112 units with full weather, ACP and RMP controlling coming from the physical hardware. I would expect to see more of this on the way. right? But yeah, back here since I won't give any relevant info about the A220 release. But anyway, I have heard, lads, the A321, I haven't flown this much on the stream at all. I'm not a particular fan of this airplane in real life because it numbs your arse before you even realise you've sat down, or at least the Aer Lingus one does. But apart from that, I have the Phoenix one. Now, FS Labs, I have flown it, and I was very impressed by it, but it was just, I don't see myself flying it much. The word I'm getting at the moment is, yes, it is a substantial update, but the performance isn't exactly where it needs to be. So that's maybe something to consider. As I said, if you want to try out all these new features with the FS Labs A321, you can pick it up through its experimental branch with its update. Another thing that kind of drove me crazy was the CEO to the NEO. You had to buy the aircraft again just to get the different type of engines. Didn't like that at all. So I didn't do it. But anyway, it is what it is. So that is the news for FS Labs. Moving on, Got Friends. Their final love letter to 2020 targets a July 31st release. That's Friday week. Tailorcraft BC12D finally gets a release date, with Got Friends now targeting July 31st for the release of this classic tail dragger. Again, we've been looking at this since the earliest news Got Friends had. There's a lot of new features put into this, especially kind of physics inside the aircraft. You know, handles moving around, handle rests moving around, doors swinging open. It's very much alive inside in the cockpit, and it's also a beautiful looking aircraft. This is also going to be the last kind of 2020 aircraft that the studio are going to work on. After this, everything is going to be 24 native. And this is very exciting because Got Friends have also announced a new project that they're working on, and it's over on their Discord. Hang on there now, we find it. Wait till you see this, lads. This means Got Friends can start focusing solely on 2024 stuff. And yes, it's a man with a hat, but also a little dog. It looks like they figured out how to code and edit the avatar stuff, because the avatar stuff in Microsoft Flight Sim, it's tedious at best, right? And you're quite limited. For a first pass, it's brilliant. We can now create avatars. I think when everyone saw this the first time around, we were like, for crying out loud, I'm not going to do that. And yet now we all do it. It's just one of those things, right? So it's great to see that we're going to get some options. Don't forget, Got Friends did have an add-on back in 2020 that you can have custom pilots and bring your dog and cats and all this kind of jazz. So it looks like this is able to be edited directly into the sim. They're calling it Avatar Studio. So very, very much looking forward to see what they can do here. And I think a lot of this news, or a lot of this story, comes back to where it has the studio focusing on 2020 and 2024. It's I'm seeing more and more people now move to 2024. Not everyone can, I totally get that, but when it comes to where we can move the sim to, if we get more developers giving full focus on this, we will be good. We will be good. All right. So we should see what happens. But anyway, news here, as I'm very much looking forward to the Tailorcraft and checking out this new reactive motion physics. I'm really looking forward to this. It's a beautiful aircraft. It's really going back to the roots of the Got Friends kind of experience. Beautiful texturing. The model work here looks absolutely insane. Got Friends as a studio have been relatively quiet. They weren't present at Expo or any of that. Their head is down, working hard, which means we're in for a treat. We just are. The Aeropract came out. That was an absolute beautiful airplane to fly. I'm very much looking forward to this. This is like, put on a pair of rustic jeans and a t-shirt, and that's it. Nothing else required. Forget it's stick and rudder kind of flying. Pretty cool, right? So looking forward to it. So they have said July 31st, which is Friday week, we can see the release of this aircraft. Now, an aircraft we're going to have a look tonight. TG Sims. He brought the Bristol 188, the Flaming Pencil. He brought this out in 2020, and he sent me an email the other day, and I was kind of saying, yeah, it's, but then I realized what he worked on. So I said, right, well, let me show people, because he's done a lot of work, right? Hey, Sprockets is here. Good to see you. The Bristol 188, the the entire project of this airplane can't be understated because it directly fed into the development of Concorde, right? Which is strange because built to sustain speeds beyond Mach 2 so engineers could study what extreme heat does to an airframe, the stainless steel research jet famously topped out at Mach 1.88, and it never flew long enough at speed to gather the data it was designed for. And yet, the knowledge it produced around the structure, material, and telemetry ended up feeding directly into Concorde. It is a failure that succeeded, an oddity that fits flight simulation very well, right? TG Sims have now released a native 2024 version of the Flaming Pencil. The aircraft has had quite a journey of its own. This started off as freeware way back in 2023, and it earned a reputation of one of the more polished freeware aircraft. It then made a jump to payware in 2020 with all sorts of new bells and whistles, and now this new release completes the arc with a full 2024 native rebuild. Now, it's important to know, we're going to have a look at it, it's important to know this aircraft. They're upfront about it. This is an entertainment-focused aircraft rather than that of a study-level simulation, and it's in and around $9 on Sim Market. The price reflects that positioning. And it's important to note, this is a free update. It's a free update. He spent a year working on it. Anyway, it's not competing with high-fidelity military or airliner add-ons, and it's not trying to. What it offers is the opportunity to fly a piece of the 1960s British experimental aviation that you will not find anywhere else in flight sim. From a developer who has been steadily refining this one aircraft for over 3 years. Right? And what's fascinating about this, the aircraft actually sits in RAF Gosford. The actual aircraft, right? Now, we're going to check it out on the stream tonight because I just need to applaud TG Sims for the work he's done, and where I hope the focus goes next. But it's got to be said, like, to spend a year developing this, bringing it to an upgrade path for 2024, and then making it free, that's a very kind of, that's a nice thing if devs can do it, and it's good to see. So we're going to show it off here now in a bit, right? No, it's pretty cool. Like, it's mad looking. And to think, when you consider British engineering, right? British engineering in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, 80s even, man alive. Haven't done much since then. You know, wake up, England, you went for a cup of tea and never came back. You used to make cool stuff, mad stuff, and now it's all kind of calmed down a bit. What's going on? Right? But anyway, Flight Simware's Lancer Legacy, the analog panel, is nearing release with a redesigned layout, and there's a new Avidyne option. Right, so we had a look at the Lancer Legacy, it is 2 months ago maybe, and it was using the steam gauge, or not the steam gauge, I beg your pardon, the glass gauge, Garmin units. And I was really impressed by that aircraft because they have a whole load of stuff going on in the background when it comes to the wear and tear simulation, right? They're now working on their steam gauge variant of this airplane, and I'm absolutely delighted to see that because the Lancer, I mean, a lot of them are experimental now, right? But to find kind of the older steam gauge panels, and this configuration, I think, is beautiful. This layout, it's enough steam and glass because, you know, you're able to use GTNs in here. This is very, very nice indeed. The analog variant was the missing piece of the entire package, the developer estimating it would follow in about 4 weeks at no extra cost. 7 weeks later, FlightSimware have shared a detailed look at the finished design, and it turns out the panel has gone through some changes along the way. In fact, the previous analog previews are no longer representative, so they've completely rechanged how this aircraft now looks inside, right? The biggest visible difference is on the top of the pilot side. There's an S-Tech altitude pre-select gauge that used to sit above the altitude indicator. That's gone. It's simply no longer needed with the Bendix autopilot package that the aircraft uses. Also, the DACON engine hours gauge has also been removed since engine hours are already tracked by the digital engine instrumentation. In its place now sits a new M303 gauge showing outside air temperature both in Fahrenheit and Celsius along with the main bus voltage. This is probably going to get us as close to what we would feel is our own experimental aircraft, because the changes that FlightSimware are putting into this, it's following logic as if this is our own plane, but we don't need that. We need to do this. And I've been watching Aviation 101 recently, and Josh did the same, right? Where, you know, he took a sling and they removed the G3000s out and they've replaced them with the brand new Garmin stuff. And when you're looking at the panel design and where as a pilot they're trying to figure out, well, I need this, I don't need that, I want one of them instead. Flight Somewhere are doing the exact same thing, and I like that. They're giving you something that feels what's the word I'm looking for? Very authentic, if that makes sense. You know, the 414, the Chancellor, which is an absolute home run from these guys. There's even like a car radio fitted into that. It's just a very unique, authentic thing. It's real. So yeah, if someone wanted a radio, they put in a friggin' FM radio. That kind of stuff, right? So it's great to see this here. The good news is it's coming very, very soon. That's going to give us now 3 avionics packages, right? And this is terribly, terribly exciting. I love this panel. This is real nice. Steam gauge, GTNs. This is going to be an ideal flyer. Ideal for your general aviation flying, cross-country stuff maybe, and even some training. Now, the aircraft itself, they're basing this on an experimental one, but you know yourself, you don't need to follow that. You know, A2A also, they're competing with this. They have the RG 550 targeting Q3 of this year. We're going to get 2 very different aircraft, you know. Gust front just went through from nearby thunderstorms. Look like they don't fall apart. Might just get some rain. Ooh, nice. Josh replaced them with the Garmin Axis. Yes, Heisenberg. The Garmin Axis unit. It's only a matter of time before we get... Lads, did you see it? It's only a matter of time before we see this in the sim. This unit from Garmin is absolutely incredible. It's incredible. Now, looking at it, you might say, okay, well, sure, look, it's very much like, you know, she's very much like the G3X, but it's not, right? It's not. This is just unbelievable, look. This is Garmin's latest real-world avionics, and it's only a matter of time before we see this in Flight Sim. They call it Axis, and how it works is this is pretty much a G1000 and a G3000, even a 750 merged all into one single screen. You can have cut screen or split screen. It's all touch, right? Look at it. Like, this is just, we need these in our lives in the sim. You'll be playing with one next week. Do, Heisenberg, take a video of it. I'm so excited to see this, and it's like we need this to come into Flight Sim. Working title, you've just given yourselves a headache by realizing this is now a thing, because wouldn't this be great to get into Flight Sim? It can even load in widgets. The real world stuff, I think you can load in third-party widgets. You can put in, you can just loads of stuff. Loads and loads of stuff. Doesn't it look gorgeous though? And you'll notice there's less kind of buttons on the outside. This is all touchscreen. And if you want to see one of these in the real world, check out Aviation 101's channel. And tell him, you know, Murph sent you. Because he'd be like, who the hell is Murph? And then we'll do an introduction. He might even get me autograph if he's lucky. What? Who said that? But this is Garmin's latest. Isn't it absolutely mad looking? This is like, I love seeing this because this line of avionics, this is coming down from airliner into the bizjet world, into general aviation. It is fantastic to see this. And I just think it's a beautiful, powerful setup to have as a pilot. Considering you're pretty much able to horse in the likes of the brains of a GTN 750, the dependability of a G1000 with the, I suppose, speed and processing of a G3000. Like, this is genius. Couldn't tell you how much they cost in the real world. Maybe the price of a Skoda, but still, it's very interesting to see. So that's going on in the real world. We don't have it yet in the sim, but when you start looking at different avionics and what's available, of course we have the Avidyne, there's G5s now, we have a G1000, a G3, there's a G5. We're getting all these different options in the sim. It would be great to see that new Garmin Axis. I think it'd be fantastic, you know. But anyway, great news here from Flight Simware, and the release of this steam gauge is going to be coming very, very soon indeed. So as soon as that's out, we must take this for a flight. Now, moving on, Infinity Simulations. Well, they've gone over and joined Aerodynamics, the DC-10 project, as the T-38N and F-5B have arrived for Flight Sim 2024. Aerodynamics surprised everyone last November, the sudden release of a T-38. The team was clear that the sleek trainer was never meant to be a detour, it was a testbed. A way to prove the tools and workflows needed for the much bigger DC-10 or the KC-10 project, which of course has been going for years, right? Years. Stu Snape is here. What's the score, buddy? One Garmin Axis unit is just over 20 grand. Yeah, I was thinking that. Using the Flight Sim Builder, I can do something like that now. G3X on PFD and a TDS. Flight Sim... Oh, really, Hermit? Ooh. Interesting. I think the Axis is going to be experimental only until one of the mainline manufacturers gets it certified for a certified... I think it's already there, DC. I'm not sure. Maybe now. I could be wrong. I do know it's used on experimental, you know? That's for the Navcom. Just the GGU is 5 grand. Oh, yikes. Anyway, what we have here then, time to coincide with America's 250th birthday celebrations, Infinity Simulations have released 2 new variants built on the T-38. NASA configured T-38N and the 2-seater F5B. Tucked into the announcement is arguably the bigger piece of news, as Infinity Simulations will now be joining Aerodynamics, working on the DC-KC-10 following this release. So we have 2 new airframes available, which is pretty nice to see. The T-38N configuration of the Talon, that was it's NASA, that's what they use, right? Famous for decades of service as an astronaut trainer and chase aircraft. The F5B, meanwhile, 2-seat member of the F5 family, which shares its lineage with the Talon, but moves into the more combat-capable role. And of course, you know, Top Gun, the original Top Gun, those MiG-28s, well, they were F5s, weren't they? The Tigers. Tiger. Cool looking aircraft. Bit of a trailer here we'll show you. We'll go over to YouTube for this just to see what they're working on, because this is pretty cool, and we have more loud music as well. Are you ready? Brilliant. Music cliche? Get out of that. I forget the name of it, but the button on my Stream Deck says, ooh, damn. Right, that's the sort of music. I gotta say, lads, that looks absolutely class, doesn't it? Looks very, very nice indeed. So, Infinity Simulations. Now, getting back to this mad machine, because we're mad to find out what the story is. The biggest part of the announcement is that the Aerodynamics DC-10, KC-10 project is still full steam ahead, and a 2026 release is still the exception. Bearing in mind, they're planning this to be a free aircraft. It's huge, right? Sounds like big news for the project. It has been in the works for well over 4 years. From the first flight tech previews to the big strategic reset that produced T-38 in the first place, a small, mostly part-time team have always been one of the project's structural challenges. So bringing in a partner that has now shipped multiple products on the shared platform, well, could be the exact sort of thing that'll help the project along. So, Great news there. Aerodynamics, we're very much looking forward to the KC-10. That's the air tanker. Also a DC-10, right? But we now have a release of a Talon T-38N, NASA specific, and also an F5B, the Tiger, which is great to see as well. Now, any builds who are very busy tonight over on the MSFS official stream, they're working with Synaptech and they're giving us details on the A220, all the features, what to expect. Well, they're also working on their own scenery. Chicago O'Hare is due to release this week, and we got a trailer video as well, and also the first footage of a multi-jetway system in action. Now, we had the chance to catch up with Ubaid a week ago. It was a great interview. If you just want to know what it's like at IndyBuilds, that video is on YouTube now. Ubaid is a lovely, lovely guy. Very insightful what's going on. Some of the challenges that they face, like they're a big, big company in this space. So anyway, that video is sitting on the YouTube channel. What we have here, though, is a brand new scenery. And of course, they dropped in the A220 for good measure. We'll have a look at this trailer. Again, we can't really play tunage on it, so I'll play a bit of background stuff and find something that just 15 likes. So Chicago O'Hare, I have flown in and out of here a couple of times in the real world, a couple of times in the sim. It's a nice airport, busy airport, massive airport, and when I see scenery getting this level of detail and attention from IndyBuilds, I get very excited, because their sceneries are, well, incredible. Come on, do a Dublin, will yous? But anyway, what we have here with Chicago O'Hare, apart from the high-fidelity detailing, interiors, up-to-date rendition of the entire airfield, you also get multiple jetways. Multiple jetways, of course, aiming for the likes of the A380, but could be triggered from for other aircraft as well. It's something that has been asked for. It became a bit of a meme. Hey, we want double jetways. And I remember I said this to Jorg. He's like, yeah, no, I hear you, but let us fix the standard jetways first. Okay, right. But anyway, my own memories of walking in and around O'Hare, it's a huge airport, huge, but it's really nice. It's one of the few airports that make you feel that you're in an airport, if that makes sense. Some airports are just like, oh, jeez. O'Hare was quite nice. Literally, we landed on one side of the concourse, and the next flight was like straight across the hall, 20 feet. Right, you're gone again. Brilliant. That's not the airport, but you know what I mean. So yeah, this is due to release this week for Microsoft Flight Simulator, and you can see from the screenshots here, lads, it looks absolutely insane. The level of detail they get into. I think the last, this is the multi-jetways look. I think the last US scenery we got from IndyBuilds was Dallas Fort Worth, which was huge. Now, the scale of that didn't really lend itself to go kind of too mad into what was going on. But IndyBuilds they've kind of cracked the egg on having the LOD system. So far as you move along, it's unloading stuff in the background, so performance tends to stay pretty well, you know? But yeah, I think anyone who likes to fly in and out of Chicago, it's a great spot, flying from Europe, and it's usually a crossover kind of destination. You know, you fly from the likes of Dublin to Chicago, and then Chicago onwards. So it's pretty cool to see that. So IndyBuilds are due to release it this week. Has the dinosaur, the trains, and everything else in between. So no idea on the price yet, but we are expecting to see this released tomorrow, maybe Friday. They said this week, so it's only a matter of time, and I'm looking forward to giving this a blast. We'll have to do a flight in around Chicago anyway, you know. So great stuff here from IndyBuilds. Now, a famous ocean research ship has just become a $6 helicopter playground for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Welcome to Falkor 2, the Expedition Pack. In March 25, a camera 600 meters below the South Atlantic filmed a colossal squid alive in its natural habitat for the first time in history. The robot that shot the footage was launched from the deck of the Falkor 2. It's a 110-meter research vessel operated by the Schmidt Ocean Institute. The same deck, helipad and all, has now been made, and it's on its way into Microsoft Flight Sim, and Skylogic Labs have parked it in 8 of the most photogenic places on the planet. So, the Expedition Pack covers 2020 and 24. It costs $5, and the location list promises incredible set pieces. Alaska, Norway, Iceland, New Zealand, Patagonia, Australia's Whitsunday Island, Bora Bora and New Caledonia. Each site gets its own ICAO code running from ZZFB through FI, and you can spawn directly on the ship or set it as a destination in your flight planner. The centerpiece is the fully operational helideck on the bow. The developers say the pack is aimed at scientific mission flying, cinematic filming and general sightseeing, which is where I suspect most people will spend their hours. A research vessel anchored in Milford Sound or a Norwegian fjord is surely the kind of destination that gives helicopter flights a compelling purpose. And of course with the release of the Dauphin. Right? Hey Steiny, good to see you. Welcome in, buddy. This is kind of cool. So it's a standard ship scenery. They've located it in a couple of places and it's aimed specifically for choppers. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Nothing wrong with that at all. It's not as big as, you know, the oil rig kind of stuff, but I think this is pretty cool. I mean, look at where they've placed the thing. Mad, isn't it? Isn't it mad? How big is the landing pad? Big enough for a chopper. Big enough, 12.8 foot. Big enough for a chopper, right? But yeah, I'm gonna have to pick this up. I think this is really good. It's a great idea. It'll load in these the boats in these various regions. I can go fly to them. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. So, what do we know? Skylogic, I've already included the Falcor 2 in their scenery for Brazil, where it operates the Marine National Park with its own landable helipad. It also arrives at an interesting moment. Offshore flying becomes more popular after Aerosoft updating their North Sea offshore landmark package. We'll have a look at that now in a minute. It's 581 on Contrail. So it's a fiver, right? So yeah, it's the Abrolhos archipelago scenery for Brazil. There you go, Mr. Dan. That's where it is. But right, that looks pretty cool, lads, doesn't it? For flying choppers, I can just see Dauphins heading out there. And what makes it kind of interesting, because it's a static scenery that you will load as custom scenery, other people will see it provided they have it, so it's just like a custom airport. Pretty cool. Now, Sundowner Sim have released a 1970s Berlin Tempelhof airport for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Berlin Tempelhof closed its doors in 2008, which means an entire generation of simmers have never had a real-world reason to fly there. Sundowner Sim clearly sees that as an opportunity rather than a problem. Their new EDDI scenery, now available for both 2020 and 24, well, it doesn't just build the airport, it rebuilds the decade around it. It is Tempelhof at the height of the Cold War with a Pan Am 727 and BEA Viscounts parked under the famous curved canopy, where US Air Force transports on one military side and the Berlin Wall cutting through the city beyond the fence. This is pretty cool, right? It's interesting. So, Tempelhof is an airport famously described as the mother of all airports. It has a very interesting history. It was also the beating heart of the Berlin airlift, right? And you've probably seen those photographs before of like DC-3s, DC-4s, DC-6s, all lining up, getting loaded up for the Berlin airdrop. What makes this one interesting is because, well, they've actually included the Berlin Wall. So it's giving you a chance to kind of fly back in time, which I thought was very, very interesting, right? So it was built under mad circumstances, of course, from them bunch of lads. But the fact that you can, you can see Berlin in the 1970s, it does kind of give you that kind of chance to experience what it would have been like, but also maybe fly some missions and just do a bit of exploring, from a historic point of view. You know what I mean? So, the apron population matches the era. Static aircraft include, 707s, 727s, Pan Am, Vickers Viscounts, all wearing individual registrations. There's Grumman Gulfstreams in 6 liveries, US Air Force Galaxy, Herc, Crusaders, even a U-2 with its own dedicated hangar. Remember, height of the Cold War. Dozens of period ground vehicles rounded out. From military police patrol jeeps, even SO fuel trucks, to GPUs and staircase trucks. There's even a Cold War armour on display, including M48 and M41 tanks. Jesus, right? There's a nice bit of an ecosystem synergy here. The scenery ships with 3 mission campaigns, roughly 3.5 hours long, built for the MBB 105, the BO 105 that Miltech released with Strataware a few weeks back. Ooh, so if you fly with the police helicopter out of Templehof, patrolling the wall on missions that range from dawn reconnaissance runs and medevac dashes to covert CIA extractions. Ooh. That's kind of mad, isn't it? Berlin Templehof, it's available right now on the Miltech Simulation Store for €14.95. It's an interesting bit of software, bit of scenery. Now, we mentioned this, Aerosoft's North Sea helicopter playground is back, rebuilt for 2024, and they now have walkable rigs. Ooh. One of the most beloved helicopter destinations in the sim has just made the jump to 2024, Aerosoft releasing a fully native version of the offshore landmark in the North Sea. And this time you don't just get to land in the oil rigs, you'll actually go for a bit of a walk. The original release back in 2020 for 2020 happened in 2022, which landed just as helicopters were officially introduced into the sim with the 40th anniversary edition. The timing made it favourable among the rotor heads, and nearly 4 years later, the concept remains just as compelling. 2024 version takes advantage of the new features. The North Sea in the default sim, well, it's big, empty, and it's blue. The real one is anything but, and Aerosoft points out that by 2030, 65% of the North Sea will be an industrial zone, and that over 90% of European helicopter traffic serves the offshore industry. That's kind of mad. Bond helicopters, Bristol, you name it, they go out there, right? And it's just a great option to have all of this scenery. There's a bit of a trailer. It's a great option to have all this scenery out there when you want to go exploring these rigs. Not to mention the challenge of the weather, trying to get your helicopter from the mainland out onto these oil rigs, or maybe you have to do a bit of a slalom to hit multiple oil rigs on a run. There's a couple of YouTubers I watch who do this. They operate an L139 or an AW139, and there's also a Dauphin, amongst other aircraft, right? It's a fascinating insight into what life is like here, how they make contact with the rigs, how they're bringing supplies in, if they're doing engineering work, as you can see here. It's an entire industry. And with the Aerosoft pack, which I have in 2020, the 2024 pack just enhances it to work that little bit better. I haven't tried it yet. I wonder if Epic Fool has tried it. I imagine he has. But it does bring the North Sea to life. And that idea to say, right, today I'm going out to fly to all these oil rigs, that's a day's flying for anyone. Loads of fun. Right, loads and loads of fun. But yeah, pretty cool to see from Aerosoft. The 2024 version, all the models have been converted with the new LOD system. Objects are now visible from above 40,000 feet, so even airliner pilots crossing between Britain and the Nordics will notice it. The most interesting add-on, though, is support for the Sim's character mode. Platform ships and tankers are now landable and walkable, so you can shut down your helicopter on a production rig, hop out and explore on foot. They also added 24 animated characters that appear at different times and temperatures. They sensibly stay indoors when it rains or when it snows, right? And also the Rotterdam heliport received substantial rework as well, with new LED lighting, 5 helicopter parking spots for cold and dark starts, cloth animated flags and windsocks, and a terrace with animated people. Ooh. Offshore Landmarks North Sea, it's available from the Aerosoft shop. It's $14.28 excluding VAT. If you owned the 2020 version, there is an upgrade price, and it'll cost you around $5.95 including VAT. So it is a paid upgrade for the North Sea. But if you're into your helicopter flying, I'd recommend this. I'd be checking this out soon, because I do remember having a lot of fun out here. Very challenging, especially with live weather, you know. So great news there. AUC have gone native in 2024. They've just released Toowoomba, Wellcamp and Parafield. These are airports I love flying in Australia. 2020 had some just incredible off the beaten track airports, and AUC were behind a lot of them. It's now at the stage where AUC have said, right, we're now going 2024 native, and that's great news. So what does it mean? Well, one of the friendlier end of the spectrum, the Australian developer is launching a new 2024 native product lineup. They have Toowoomba and also Parafield. Existing owners get a 70% discount if upgrading. That's pretty cool. 70% off? Sure, we'll take it. The timing also makes sense too. Australia's been getting plenty of attention since World Update 21, and AUC's portfolio of handcrafted Australian airports pairs naturally with the improved base scenery. AUC have been building Australian sceneries since the early days. Hamilton, Lord Howe, Ayers Rock, Reef World, they're all there. And now they've worked on these ones to make them native. So Toowoomba, Melcamp, that's the recent of the two in the catalogue. And then we have also Parafield. It's one of their earliest ones as well. These are really nice sceneries. They're beautiful sceneries to be operating in and out of. And it's great to see that they have now been upgraded. It's a 70% discount. You can use the codes if you've previously owned the aircraft or owned the sceneries, right? 70% off. I mean, you can't complain. If you want to buy it brand new, it's $30. So if you're going to get 70% off, what are you talking, a tenner, right? €8 maybe, something like that. So AUC very much chipping away and making all their sceneries 2024 native. Now, German VFR flyers get a new home base as Flight Sim Studio releases Airfield Detmold. I hope I pronounced that right. The studio have been getting a lot of attention lately for its aircraft, between the Tupolev reveal and also the long-running push to get the E-Jets to their version 1 milestone. So it's easy to forget, the Swiss studio also has a quieter, more low-key line of work when it comes to the smaller European airfields. That side of the house just delivered again with this brand new scenery, which is available for Flight Sim 2024. Detmold, ICAO code of Echo Delta Juliet, Lima Juliet. It's a regional airfield in the North Rhine-Westphalia, sitting in the Westphalia Lippe region of Germany. Pronunciation out the window. It's exactly the kind of destination this scenery is aimed at. It's not a hub, it's not a tourist landmark, just a proper German general aviation field of the sort that makes low and slow VFR flying in Europe so enjoyable. This is FSS's second German airfield in just a couple of months when they brought out Warngau, a small field in the Bavarian Alpine foothills south of Munich. Arrived in April with dynamic touches like hangar doors that open and close depending on the time of day. The overall reaction was very good. So what we have here, they list carefully modelled buildings, hangars and airport objects, high-resolution ground, taxiway and apron textures, plus custom vegetation and surrounding environmental work. The scenery is built for 2024, specifically, and the developers say the use of the current simulator's lighting, vegetation and performance optimizes features. Pricing sits at around €8 plus VAT, available over on the Aerosoft store. Now, they're just small, quaint, German, I love that, German general aviation fields. But if you like flying around in Europe, the likes of what we see here from FSS and also Latin VFR, France VFR, right? They have real gems of airports scattered around the place that can transform how you fly in Europe with general aviation, because you can just fly off to these remote, off the beat tracks. It is brilliant. You know what I mean? So, yeah, great news there. The free mod finally brings Lido charts to the PMDG 737 and 777. Microsoft Flight Sim, of course, shipped with Lido charts from Lufthansa Systems, and most third-party airliners don't use them. Phoenix added it to the FB as part of its 2025 roadmap, and a handful of default aircraft picked them up through sim updates, but PMDG's fleet has remained a Navigraph-only affair. If you fly the 7.3 or the 7.7 without a Navigraph subscription, the charts pane on the tablet, well, has been little more than just decoration. Until now. A community developer has solved this. They've created a freeware mod. It's available over on flightsim.to that patches the tablet of the 737NG family and all 4 777 variants, giving you an option to be able to pick Lido. So it utilizes the free Lido charts that are available inside Microsoft Flight Simulator, and they pop them up on the screen inside your PMDG aircraft. It even has a GSX app as well. Lido integration is what gets people through the door. Version 1.11, released on the 11th of June, added something even better, a GSX app on the tablet home screen. It matches the full GSS Pro menu inside the EFB, and it shows a live status board for ground services covering refueling, catering, boarding, and so on. Can you explain the difference between Jeppesen and Lido? So they're chart providers, right? They're the companies who own the charts. They do all the work when it comes to airport charts and en route charts and all this sort of jazz. They're different in terms of the information that they give. No airport that I'm aware of requires you to have either or. Once you have a chart, and it's, you know, the AirAct data is up to date, well, then you're going to be okay. It's kind of like, if you were to think of this, Piku, you know, one is Garmin and one is ForeFlight. If that makes sense, you know what I mean? One's a Beamer, one's a Mercedes, they're both cars. When it comes to charts, Lufthansa have their own system, their own infrastructure, and it's called Lido charts, or Lido charts, as they call them, right? And Jeppesen is another. There is another chart provider out there for this kind of crack. We know that there's Rogers and all this kind of crack for VFR, but there are other chart companies out there, but they're the biggest. Lufthansa is Lido, yeah. So that's what they operate on. So a lot of Lufthansa pilots, they use this stuff as default, right? So much so that even when you use SimBrief, your SimBrief flight plan, by default, that flight plan is given to you as Lido. It's just the way it's broken down. But you can choose others, you know. Boeing is Jeppesen. Do Boeing still own Jeppesen? Do they not sell them or something? No. It used to be a Boeing company anyway, definitely. But yeah, it's this is great news for those who want to fly these aircraft who don't have a Navigraph subscription and they just wanted to use the charts that come with the sim. Right? Yeah, no, they did sell them. Yeah. Yeah, good point, Malky. The only downside of the Lido charts, they do not have the same level of coverage as Jeppesen. What we have with Navigraph, they pretty much have global coverage. Lido, which is default in the sim, and it's Lufthansa's, they don't have, now they have a lot, but they don't have everywhere, right? And of course, they don't have the niceties that you get with Navigraph as well. All right. Score update for those watching the World Cup. England have scored. It's 1-0. Goal for England. Right. Do you know, we're never going to hear the end of it. If England win, we're never going to hear the end of this. You know, we're never going to hear it. Football's coming home. Shut up! Stop saying that song. It's coming home. Shut up, the thing. Right. And then if they get in, well, if they get into the final, you know, imagine if they won it. Imagine if they won it. I don't know what we're going to do. We'll have to. I don't know what we're going to do. Wait, hang on. If football does come home, does that mean they have to stop singing, or will they re-release it? Football just came home. It's after coming home. I should put in a letter to say, hey, I have a new song for you. Get right. Brilliant. But anyway, football. This is great news. No, there's no refund, shag off. This is really cool. Now, if this has piqued your interest in relation to GSX, don't go anywhere, because I'm going to be talking about some news of what's going on behind the scenes at SayIntentions that I think you might be very interested in. So we'll get to that in a moment. This is interesting. Have you seen this? Build your own Flight Sim 2024 airport in a web browser. What? Project Airports has entered open beta. Building your own airport for Microsoft Flight Sim has required you to be a genius. Or Jeppesen 2001. And I don't mean, you know, genius in terms of, you know, coding. I mean a genius of how to make things work, right? Well, what we have here is a new browser scenery builder, which too long didn't read is, you log on to these lads, you build it within their lads' browser, they upload it into the gadget, and then it spits out scenery that you can download, and away you go. Genius. Right? Nick, thank you very much indeed for 14 months. Cheers, buddy. Now, I'll talk about this because it's there's more to this than just that, right? The work here is from Justice McCracken. You might have seen him in the community as McCracken Air. He previously worked at SayIntentions, right? A couple of years, it's over a year now. But the pitch is simple. You claim a real world plot anywhere on the globe. Now this is important. You cannot edit a pre-built airport. You can't go into your home airport and build it. You have to pick somewhere that's a greenfield site. And it can't be too close to an airport either. There's rules attached, right? So this is for you building your own new custom airport. Now, you might be able to do it to some of the old World War II ones that aren't classified as an airport anymore. That could make things interesting, but this needs to have its own custom area. That's the first thing. And you can't edit built airports, right? You select your greenfield site, and then you can use the assets that have been created for you, right? And you can build, like, drag and drop runways, airport, friggin' terminals, control towers, all this sort of stuff. Okay. Runways and taxiways and aprons are drawn onto a live map. Then there's a catalogue of over 1,300 objects to place around it. Fair enough. You first claim land, which is free, with additional claims costing arrows, which is the platform's soft currency. Okay. So you claim an area, you design it, you build it, you sink it, and you fly it. Now, when this works, when you're happy with the result, it sends the project into their servers. They compile it through the official SDK, and then they upload the finished scenery to the network. A free companion app then installs the airports directly into your sim, and it keeps them updated. The end result shows up in the free flight search just like any other airport, and everything is synced, which is good. It's worth noting, for anyone worried about conflicts with existing sceneries, this is not a tool for modifying or overriding real airports, and that stands for default airports in the sim. The idea is to build on a claimed tile, and the land near most existing airports and national parks, they're blocked from claiming. If you want to see how the editor feels, you can actually give it a live demo. You can see the live demo. Now, how it works is you can sign up for free, you have a bit of usage, and then you need its currency called arrows in order to unlock more features. If you want to claim more space, you want more assets, this kind of stuff. Now, what's interesting here is how the arrow works, right? Arrows work, you get 10,000 arrows when you sign up for free. So that's a new account, right? And that's just enough to probably build you an airport. When you or other people are operating in and out of these airports, well, then the airport starts generating these arrows for you. Now, there's other ways to get arrows. You can go onto a paid tier, $25 tier. That gives you 25,000 arrows, double the object slots, and at every airport size. Priority in the build queue, and a few exclusive items like air racing pylon, and you even get some landmarks, right? Yeah, it looks very similar to the on-air base camp idea. It does, Malky. Now, On Air are doing their own stuff because they have their own assets in the background. They just haven't released them yet. So with your On Air subscription, not only can you do this, but you can actually pop them into fixed locations as well. But that's a story for another day. However, I would say check it out. It is an interesting project. Anything that opens the doors to allow us, mere mortals, figure out, how we can get into scenery development, or even look at how do we do all this stuff. I think it's well worth a look. It's a very interesting idea. I think there's going to be limitations. They've just started off, so the scenery objects, the assets, they may not be the nicest and brightest you've ever seen. That's why they're looking for pledges. They're looking for support so they can invest into scenery artists and all this kind of jazz. But I think it's a pretty cool idea. Well worth a look. Well worth a look. There's also a public directory of community airports already up and running, so you can go around and explore. It's pay to win. It's kind of play to win, kind of. And the point I'm making is you can operate it for free, or you need arrows. You can buy arrows, but you also generate arrows when people are using that scenery. They'll see this becoming popular, but then that's giving you more and more and more. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know, was he an original founder? He was certainly on the team, Mr. TPHI. I know he was working with Brian many moons ago. I don't know, was he a founder of it though? Maybe he was. I don't know. You earn arrows by flying too. Yeah, just by flying, and you're connected to them, you're generating arrows. So it's not necessarily pay to win. I think it's play to win. You know. I saw that, but I need to fact check that. I saw that because he actually said he was a founding member. rather than founding developer or something. You know what I mean? But it doesn't matter anyway. It really doesn't matter. What he's done here is, I mean, this is inspired. This is a great idea. If it means that, you know, folks can get in and start making their own airports and all this kind of stuff, well, great. There are limitations to it, though. You can't edit previously built sceneries, which makes sense. You can't, you know, build an airport next to a national park. So good luck trying to drop one in Yosemite. This kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's certainly interesting. This sort of stuff that can make customization of the entire sim more accessible to general users, this is a good thing. It can be a great thing, but it's a good thing. It creates challenges and headaches and all the jazz. But again, it's using their own network. So I like this idea. Well, I would say check it out. Well worth a look to check it out, you know. Now, MOZA, we're going to be having a look at this now here in a minute. The MOZA MGX1000. All the news, of course, broke. They have the they have all the new gear out, right? It's available to buy right now. The MA3F, the MB3F, or the begging your pardon, the MA3F and the MB7F. They're the flight control displays, the MGX1000, the FMP18, based for the F-18, and there's a whole lot of cool stuff here as well. We're going to be having a look at the MGX1000 here tonight, just to give you a closer look at it, because especially for general aviation, I want to give you a look at it. And if you have any questions about the gadget, now is the time to ask, because the pricing from MOZA is extremely competitive. In actual fact, it's aggressive, which is a good thing, because you're getting the MOZA build quality, which is excellent, at a fraction of the price you would expect. Right, so we're going to be checking out that in a moment. Flight Factor news of X-Plane. They've teased new Boeing 787 images. Recently posting an update on their Facebook page. They've teased an update of what they are building for the Flight Factor 787. Flight Factor, of course, are behind the 777, amongst others. Some of the best aircraft in X-Plane. And they also have a 76 and a 75 sitting there as well, which are excellent. But the 787, this is looking to be very, very interesting, considering just how good the 777 is. Team currently focused on implementing the aircraft's complex cockpit avionics, while also continuing work on the cabin. Some existing systems primarily related to the 777 are there, which they can copy over. The 787's different systems mean much of the aircraft requires a lot more. But this is interesting news for X-Plane pilots to know that, yes, Flight Factor are hard at work at a 787. Which is great news. Staying with X-Plane, Mango and Skybound Studios have released Inverness Airport for X-Plane 12, way up in the Scottish Highlands. A collaboration was announced between Skybound and Mango Studios to work on X-Plane 12 scenery. Mango, of course, who do a lot of the sound sets for the sim. Inverness Airport, situated a little northeast of the city of Inverness. It can be considered an important hub for travellers such as EasyJet, Logan Air, Aer Lingus Regional operate out of there as well. I like flying in and out of this airport anyway. It's in a lovely part of the world, and it's pretty much your gateway off into the Highlands. In X-Plane, I got to say, it's looking particularly nice. So this is good to see. It's healthy to see, because what was the name of the developer? Boundless. Boundless would usually focus on these sort of airports, and unfortunately Boundless are of no more. So it's good to see Mango and Skybound Studios working together on their rendition of Inverness, which is very, very pretty indeed. Right? Now, SayIntentions. I've loads of things to talk about, so just bear with me for a minute, because this is cool. SayIntentions have launched what they call the Preferred Pilot Program. But this one is aimed at IVAO pilots, right? Is it the first? Is it the only? Is it the last? Who knows? But the IVAO SayIntentions discount can get you up to 15% off with the new Preferred Pilot Program. Basically, SayIntentions, well, they recognise that us as pilots in the sim, well, we've spent a lot of time learning aviation, be it from navigation or flying aircraft, online flying, ATC, doesn't matter, right? We spent a lot of time at that. And SayIntentions, as what we saw from Flight Sim Expo, they're very much working or looking to work with the entire community. They want that inclusion. They've seen that when they work with other developers, they can bring more and more, capabilities to what SayIntentions offers, right? We've seen that with the work they've done with Parallel 42, and we've also seen what they can do with Navigraph. The same then goes when it comes to the general flight sim community. This is like a reward system where they'll say, listen, we recognize all the hard work and effort you've put in, and based on what your rating is, in this case, IVAO, well, if you're interested with SayIntentions, we recognize the hard work you've done. We would like to offer you a discount. That's how this works, right? So it's not a generic partnership badge. The program recognizes pilots and controllers who have invested real time into learning, training, flying online, communicating properly, and becoming better aviators. If that sounds like the kind of person you have flown with on a busy event night, or the kind of aviator you're working to become, well, that's exactly who this is built for. IVAO, they were quick to collaborate, quick to support the idea, and aligned with what SayIntentions are trying to build from the start, and that deserves the first spotlight. That's where there could be more here, lads, right? There could be more. Anyway, online flying is not just about logging the hours. People who make networks better are the ones who study, train, and show up at events. The preferred pilot program recognizes that work. So eligible IVAO members receive a discount on SayIntentions.ai based on their pilot or ATC rating, whichever one gets them a higher tier. More partners will join over time. Today is about IVAO and the people who have already put in the work. Pretty cool. Right, so this is, I think this is fantastic for anyone in flight sim who's able to say, look, you can be using this network, that aircraft, that developer, doesn't matter. We're all flight simmers. And the sort of discounts you can look at here range from 10 to 15%. They don't have to do this. There's nothing in it for them. They just want to say, hey, we appreciate you. We see the work that you're doing with these networks. If you're interested in our stuff, well, just letting you know, we recognize that. That's it. And I think it's a nice touch. So how to claim that? If you fly with IVAO, that's how you claim it. You go into your pilot portal, you go into your integrations, just where you put in your Navigraph or whatever, and then you would put in your IVAO account number. So we shall see. More partners will join the preferred pilot program over time. Each one will be chosen for the same reason. Organizations that take pilot development seriously. This is fantastic news, right? Now, that's not all. This is a new feature currently available to their partners. As I said, with SayIntentions, they have the subscriber tier, and then they have partner. Anyone can be a partner. You sign up and you say, yeah, I want to be a partner, and you make a donation to them, and that gets you access to partner. Partners usually get access to stuff in the early stages. Think of it like beta products or even alpha, right? And what they've worked on here is charted visual flight procedures are now becoming a thing for SayIntentions. You might say, huh? This is huge, because charted visual flight procedures are a real world thing that happen at a ton of different airports. We kind of did a bit of a one with that circle to land a couple of weeks back into Innsbruck, right? And what they use is they're using visual flight procedures, i.e. a visual reference point, right? At the bridge, descend 2,000 feet. Past the church, turn right 27. These are visual flight procedures, and SayIntentions are now able to understand them and control them, right? If you ever asked for the river visual and gotten something that felt like a normal visual with no Potomac, no bridges, and no noise abatement altitudes, that's what SayIntentions have fixed. These are the approaches you brief from the chart, not the generic cleared for the visual you'd get at any airport with a runway in sight. Charted visual flight procedures are the approaches that don't ride an ILS or RNAV signal. They follow landmarks. ATC clear you for the river visual and expects you to pick up the Potomac, follow the bridges downriver, and then hit the public crossing altitudes along the way. I'm almost certain we've done this flight on VATSIM as well. Anyway, every procedure has charted waypoints, minimum altitudes, and weather minimums, just as it does in the real world. Until now, SayIntentions would treat a request like the river visual as a generic visual approach. Useful, but not that approach. Well, that's not anymore. The charted visual flight procedure library currently covers 40 procedures across 26 airports when runway, weather, and, when the chart requires it, daytime conditions line up. ATC can assign that procedure automatically. You can always request by name, I'd like the quiet bridge visual please, and ATC will work that in if the weather minimums allow for it. The charted waypoints get written into your flight plan so the path shows up on your flight map. This is huge. This is like real world stuff. That's in. I'm almost certain we did this flight as well. We had to do the visual reference approach. I'm almost certain of it because they'll tell you report the bridge in sight or report the building in sight. Or do you know what I mean? So this is really, really good. I'm almost certain we've done this online. That approach looks very familiar. And we had to, ATC specifically told us, be at 3,000 crossing the bridge and tell me when you're at the bridge. Anyway, the list of they have, there's a lot of them, right? Does it work perfectly? No. And we're not going to pretend otherwise. Support for charted visual procedures, it's highly experimental right now. We expect a week or two of tuning before these feel dialed in, and the best thing you can do to help, well, fly them. Pick the airport that has it and then wait for the request. It's currently open to partners right now. There was the visual approach into San Diego. Maybe that was it. Yeah. It's open to the partners right now, so you expect a couple of weeks and then they roll it on out. But I think this is really, really cool. Considering in the last 6 weeks, we've also seen the release of Special VF4. Like, this is mad stuff we're getting now. And the fact that you're able to really push these into training, real world training, because now you can do these, the charted visual approaches. This is huge news. Massive news, right? So I wanted to cover them because, as I say, SayIntentions are just working on lots upon lots upon lots of stuff, right? So that's the first one. And the number of different airports, like they've tons of them, right? The River Visual, Parkway Visual, Harbour Visual, the LA River Visual, right? Where's this one? KORF, K-San, the Sweet Water. Oh, we just got a raid from Arch NDA. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome in. Hope you had a great stream. Thank you very much indeed. Good to see you, bud. Good to see you. Goose says, I like SayIntentions, but I don't want to pay a monthly fee. Yeah, I get that. Like, the reality is this, right? SayIntentions are able to, give us this sort of technology because it's server based. Do you know what I mean? Like if it was just a one-off price, they'd have no way they could develop into
Allow
this.
myself to
Do
introduce.
you know? So it works out. It's like a Netflix, I suppose. It's just like a Netflix. You have the option. I mean, you can pay for 1 month, 6 months, 12 months. It's up to you. A lot of people say they don't want to pay monthly fees, which I totally understand. The reality is, lads, we're now living in a world where that is now the norm. Outside of flight sim, we pay for Navigraph, right? If you're on Pilot Edge, you pay for that, right? But then you consider your Netflix, Spotify, Disney if you have it, Prime. There's a lot of things. We're just used to this stuff now. Do you know what I mean? So, but I totally get what people are saying. But I think there's so much being built into SayIntentions, be it from the ATC side and the depth of their ATC now. Like this adds depth to it because it's now capable of doing a lot more things. Plus with the new voices, plus with the new voice recognition, it's getting bigger and better. It's a slow movement, and I absolutely love the honesty of SayIntentions. Do they work perfectly? No, and we're not going to pretend otherwise. They're telling you exactly where it is. Lads, we're doing this. Kind of works. We need your help. That's all they're asking, right? So that's pretty cool. The next thing I want to tell you is this is breaking news. Breaking the news. And I can't go into too much detail here because they'll give out to me. However, what I can tell you is this. Those of you who use SayIntentions, right? Who also uses GSX? So if you use SayIntentions, do you also use GSX? And the reason for that question is SayIntentions are working on a something, and it's going to be pretty big because it's going to allow you to interact with GSX via SayIntentions. And it's not necessarily just, exactly as you see it in GSX, anything but that. This is a SayIntentions solution working with GSX to give us an excellent ground operational control solution, if that makes sense, right? The important thing to be aware, it's new news. It's something they're working on. I've seen it in action. I scraped the bottom of me chin when I saw it because I was like, holy crap. It's savage looking. Savage looking. Biggest problems we have with GSX, doesn't work. Press the button. It's doing something stupid. It's taking 26 hours to load. Why is it doing that? All I can say is SayIntentions are working on their own control solution, right? That integrates with GSX. So you still need your GSX, but it's a SayIntentions solution layered on top of that, right? We will get more news when SayIntentions know it's ready to say, all right, we'll show you a bit of what's going on. Then they'll show you. And I think you're going to be as, wow, that is about time, but also that is pretty cool when they start releasing it. So you've heard it here first, hopefully, right? And as I say, it's just another bit of the jigsaw when you consider SayIntentions and what they use. And put it this way, right? GSX, you have a little drop down, you click on a button. It does this or it does that. Grand. If you could talk to it. What if you can interact with it? What if you could do multiple things? Right? So just pretty cool. I can't go into much more detail other than SayIntentions are going to have some really, really interesting news on this soon. Hashtag hieroglyphics soon. And again, another call to action from the community. If there's things that you think would benefit better by having, because SayIntentions seem to be the only ones out there going, knocking on people's door. Hey, can we work with you? Can we build something, right? If you think if maybe you have an idea, hey, this would be pretty cool if, this would work with SayIntentions. Well, sure, reach out to them. Tell us. You know what I mean? The fact another company has to fix GSX is why I don't have GSX. I will say this, GSX is great when it works, right? It's very immersive. It's great to see, the ground crew and the people walking around and all that. It's kind of hollow, right? SayIntentions fill it, right? They just fill it. And, the question around, did it work or not? Just keep an eye out on the SayIntentions news over the next couple of weeks. Because genuinely, my mind was blown. It looked absolutely savage. It looked savage, right? So, once they're ready to share a bit of news, there will be a bit of news. They'll also integrate it with Pocket Sky. Right? So you can control it with the phone and all the sort of stuff. All right? So just keep an eye out. They're not ready to pull back the curtain just yet, but I wanted to tell you because I was chatting to them over the last few days and they're like, Murph, have a look at this. Yeah, it did, Viper, it did. And what SayIntentions are working on doesn't impact on any updates that GSX do. What they're doing is just, oh yeah. It's just, oh yeah. Right. Anyway, hopefully we get to show you more when it's a little bit closer to being when it's being ready, you see. So what was the last bit here? The pilot program, ATC updates. I think I covered them all from SayIntentions. As I said, we flew with SayIntentions on Tuesday night with the TBM 850. I thought it went really well. No issue at all. I even heard myself talk over the radio. It scared the crap out of me. I was like, I know that guy. But it was pretty cool. So what we're going to do now, lads, I want to show you some hardware if you give us a couple of minutes, and then we're going to have a look at the aircraft. All right, so just bear with here now for the moment, and we get a couple of scenes set up, right? Because I think you're going to enjoy this. because I certainly enjoy it. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Now my buttons over here, will this work? It did, look, and let me lie. I pressed the wrong shagging button. Balls! Don't panic. There we go. We're all back in action now. I can't be trusted anything. So what I want to have a look at here, lads, is the MOZA. It is the refund. No, you can't. You can check out. It's the MOZA MGX1000, and it's based loosely, obviously, on the Garmin G1000. Now, a couple of things we need to figure out before we go, right? And I'll show you the software and all that jazz in a moment. I just want to show you these stuff in action. So on this screen over here, I'm just going to start up the aircraft, right? I'm going to start up this machine, and I'm going to use a program called Glassout. You've all heard of Glassout. I'm going to use Glassout for this. There are other ways you can pop out panels. MOZA don't give you a solution to pop out panels, so you got to use something else. It'll help you along, but just get Glassout. Just don't arse around. Get Glassout, right? So I'm going to use Glassout, and I'm going to show you now what we can do. This is all starting up. Yes. I know all this. MOZA. Buttons, Murphy, you can do it. Big 10-4, good buddy. Right, MOZA cockpit, and I'm looking for the PFD. I'm going to open this, and I'm going to horse you all the way over. Come on, MOZA, you can do it. Right, give us a second here now. DeRouter, thank you very much indeed. Welcome aboard. Right, there's the software loaded. Try that again. Pressing buttons here now, Murphy. You can do it. Right, Glassout. Working title PFD. Pop it out there now. Now, wait till you see the state of this.
Oh, Jesus.
Just bear with me. When you do this once, you don't need to do it many more times. It's just pretty much ready to rock, right? I'm just trying to get the resolution. Glassout should have done this automatically. It chose not to because it's having a moment. That's what we get with Glassout. Can I just like full screen that? No. Bear with now, friends.
Oh, Jesus.
Listen, just give us a second, will you? Right. Yeah, it's not doing what I wanted to do.
Studies, 60% of the time it works.
Every time.
Every time.
Right, we're going to close that. Open. Let's see if it works this time round. Why is Glassout having an absolute freak of nature? Kill it with fire. I'm going to start it again.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, right. Ooh. This is a Glassout issue, right? Where's this now? Starting the engine. It's starting. Right? Yes, allow the shagging thing. Does it mount like a regular monitor? Yes. We'll talk about it. No panels identified. Connected the sim. Go. Now, can we try it again? Working title PFD. Now we're threshing. Okay.
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
Would you wished? Okay. That was painful. Right, so what we have, lads, the MOZA MGX1000. And I'll put on different cameras and all this jazz so you can see what's happening. Just to give you an idea of what it is, we'll give a quick rundown. So what it is a G1000 style instrument, right, for Microsoft Flight Simulator or X-Plane or any of these jazz. And basically, it is a panel. And it's that of a G1000 panel, right? And I've always said, hey, we need to have steam gauges. And the reality is this: if I had the choice to fly in the real world, I would always go for a G1000 or a GTN. But flying in the sim, I want a steam gauge because there was no real way that we could interact with the shagging thing without having to mouse over and press, tons upon tons upon tons of buttons, right? So hopefully now, if I've done this right and I press this button over here, wait for this now, look. Here's the unit in all its glory, and I'll pop it up here as well for those on the vertical stream, all right? So let me know that you can see this now and everything's looking absolutely grand and rosy and all the jazz, right? Get the camera moved around. So, what we have with this unit, this is a monitor that doesn't need a HDMI connection. You're able to connect this gadget purely by USB. It does need its own power, so that comes with your normal, you know, domestic or household plug, right? And here is your USB-C, and it connects into your PC as a USB-C. And you can drive this as you would with any monitor. Windows will detect it. If Windows, for whatever reason, doesn't detect this, it's because you might need a bit of software for Windows to say, hey, I'm using USB monitors, because maybe you have 4 monitors already. All right? So, it comes with a power brick. That's what powers it. But what I'm going to explain to you here now, like a camera looking at a screen, you're always going to see weird pixelation. I can tell you, me looking at that screen, it's perfect. I can't see any of these weird wavy lines or whatnot. Right? So anyway, what we get, we run it inside the MOZA software. And by doing so, it's now compatible with the working title G1000. Now, it's not working with every aircraft that has a G1000, but they're getting closer to it. It's not there yet. They have announced that they're working now with, they're going to be doing some stuff with MobiFlight. If I mouse over, you can see my mouse cursor here now on the screen, right? And what makes this interesting, right? Here now. I just want to get it aligned, and then we need to lock it. What makes this interesting, I can actually use this as a standard monitor. So, for example, if I want to bring up, you know, a picture of an Alouette, for instance, and I can just horse this across onto another screen, look, it just becomes another monitor. Isn't that the absolute nuts, isn't it? So it just becomes a monitor, lads, right? Which is great. And you know, you can game on this if you wanted to, or you just leave it alone in your flight sim. Now, depending on the aircraft you're going to be utilizing here, as I said, it works with a lot. It doesn't work with all of them just yet. What we have here, the build quality is exceptional. And what I mean by that is, because it's MOZA, the buttons feel very, very good. There's nothing loose or shaky. Nothing feels hollow. It is built on a plastic frame, and they do give you these stand options, this frame here. And you can see then it pretty much sits just a little bit up off your desk, right? Shout out to Gibbo for sending me Flight Sim teas, mints. They taste like more. But anyway, now some people were saying, you know, G-Lock put out a video. He was saying, you know, this could be you could have a job trying to mount this directly onto a panel for a home cockpit builder. I don't think so. And the reason why I don't think so, yeah, you have a VESA mount here. Granted, you can't screw in from the top. I mean, you're not going to screw through the actual device here. Maybe a Mark II will come out in the future. I couldn't tell you. But I don't think you're going to have a huge issue trying to put this into, into a cockpit. Right? Now, if you don't have a cockpit, looking at the size of this and the price, this costs €469. €469 for the G1000. Lads, that is exceptional pricing. That is absolutely exceptional, right? So this is, it acts as a G1000, and I can show you, it responds instantly. We can change things as quickly as you like, right? Press all our buttons. We can go into our transponder. We can change the code. We can put in all these numbers. We can go back. We can change it to, I don't know, standby or altitude reporting. And all of our buttons, dials, all of this, the flight director, you see it coming on there. We can go altitude select. You see it come up there on our right hand side. So we go by thousands or by hundredths. We have the same when it comes to our heading. We can bring our heading bug. You can see it moving there on the screen. There's absolutely no delay. Everything just works, right? We have VNAV profile. We have your vertical speed in which we can bring that up or down. And you can see the flight director. Like, that's how instant it is. It's absolutely brilliant, right? In addition to that, we also have physical buttons on the back here, which will allow us to change the brightness of the screen. Now, the other brightness, see like the lights here on the outside, see these lights? You can control these manually, or indeed you can use MOZA software. It'll detect what the aircraft is doing, or there's even these IPS sensors built in. Where my thumb is, see that little gadget there? And where my finger is down here, that's light sensor, or they're light sensors. And they actually work as axes. But basically, the darker it gets, well, the brighter the screen. The brighter it gets, the dimmer the screen. Right? If that makes sense. No, the other way around, Murph. The darker it gets, outside, it'll bring the screen brightness down. The brighter it is outside, it brings the brightness up. Or you can just leave it on manual and it leaves it exactly as is. Of all the buttons, we have a ton of buttons. The G1000, you have your nav. So these are our radios, nav radio or nav frequencies, comm radios and comm frequencies, right? Beautiful sounding, all the buttons, dials and knobs. They feel, I've flown in an aircraft with a G1000. These feel, I mean, this is exactly what I had in the aircraft. Exactly. It felt pretty much the exact same, right? Buttons probably just on the rubber, they need to be worn in a little bit because they're, you know, they feel a little bit, I don't know what it is. It's very easy to run over them. But there's nothing here that feels cheap. This is all top drawer quality, lads, right? Also then, when you look at the dials and knobs, the shapes are correct, right? And the movement of the little joystick and the pads, everything here works great. And as I said, like the response from all of this, it's absolutely brilliant. Do you know? Away you go. Right? Very, very cool stuff. So, out of that page, out of that page. Now, you can also utilize this if you want as an MFD. We can use this now as an MFD. So what I'll need to do, I'll come back over here to where my sim is running and where glass out is, right? And I'm now going to pop out the MFD. And I'm going to drag this guy all the way over. Where are you now? Jesus, I'm up out of that. It's after getting stuck on another monitor. On Murphy, you go far in life. Right, over here now. Get in there now, you good thing. So here I'm after coming over with an MFD, right? And once you kind of set it, you lock it in, you forget it, and that's the end of it. In the MOZA software then, I'm going to say, hey, I'm actually utilizing this as an MFD. I do that inside the MOZA software, and before you know it, you're now able to interact with the mouse. See this crack? I'm using the little joystick built into the G1000, and this is exactly how it works in the real world, lads. Right? See that? It's a joystick, and you can see the little cursor move. See that? And if you go to a certain waypoint, you can say, hey, what is this waypoint? Or it's an airway. Click on it, you'll get more information about it. You say, okay, well, what is this? Because you can highlight it. You know, menu. You can get all your information then about this, or you can even add the thing, direct me to there, right? And it works as it should. We also have our information then on the engine. So we can go into the engine, say, right, here's my engine. Show me the lean. So I want to see my cylinder heads, right? And we can go into the cylinder, select what cylinder, right? Or we can use the assist, and that'll help us find the peak. That's all default with the working title stuff. Outside of the engine, we can then go into the systems page, and this is where we can go deeper when it comes to our electrical bus and all the jazz. We can reset the fuel. We can check the gallons remaining, right? And then the other options that we have, we can also access our charts. And because the G1000, I'm using Navigraph, I'm able to use Navigraph. And just by using this gadget here, I can now navigate any chart wherever in the world I want. All by utilizing this avionics screen. Isn't this absolutely brilliant? Right? And we already had this capability on the digital solution for a G1000. But what MOZA have done here, not only have they given us a solution for the G1000 with their MGX1000, they've also given us an additional screen. We can also utilize this without the need of a HDMI cable. This runs off USB, right? And here's one for you, right? I'm a Murphy, so I break things. I don't have any other USB-C connections available on my PCIO, so I use a little converter gadget. One of these that a USB-C plugs into the back of it and a USB-A in the front of it, and this gear works absolutely no problem. No problem at all, right? Now, she probably needs a 3.2 connection on your PC, just be aware of that. But hopefully by looking at this, you can see just that little bit closer with the build. It's not an OLED screen. It's the resolution, it's very good. The clarity is very good. It's probably not the sharpest, like it's not 4K, it's like 760 or something, but it's very, or USB 3, there you go. But it's very, very good. Now, the screen is a little bit shiny. It's a little bit shiny. So if you do have, you know, big lights around you, which I have, they might come up on it. The camera is actually making them look a lot worse. I mean, when I have this turned to me, even though she's picking up lights up here at the ceiling, I'm still able to read the screen, which is kind of cool, right? Kind of cool. Again, you have more mounting options underneath. You see the 2 screw points, right? And then on the back, as I said, you have this kind of VESA mount, but you also have these screw points here. And that's how you're able to connect this thing. So people saying with a panel, you can easily build a panel bracket, and then the MOZA unit goes straight onto it using those four screws. So you do have a lot of options. Even the stand that comes with the unit, you'll notice that we have extra screw holes in the stand, so you can actually lower the unit if you don't want it sitting up quite as high to be able to fit your fingers under it. But lads, I will say this, right? If you were going to consider, right, I want to build a home cockpit. This is how you're going to be able to build your home cockpit for relatively small money. Relatively small money. Because usually these guys cost about $1,000 each, right? About $1,000 each. So yeah, it's absolutely, yeah, you can use a VESA arm, but yeah, it would want to be strong. How is the glare and what does it look like under bright lights, direct sunlight? You know, it's quite okay, TJ Turner. Like when you have bright lights on it, it does reflect, don't get me wrong, but it's not too bad. If I were to turn off my lights here for a second, that's how the unit looks at night time. And we can adjust all of this. We can also adjust the screen. I actually have the screen on quite a low setting, so I need to get my finger here. Hang on. Oh. I can brighten that screen up, or I can dim it down. See that on the camera? So you do have some nice options. And I will say the screen, it's very, very good. There's none of this like light bleed in that you might see in some of these other ones. It's very, very good. And bearing in mind, lads, this screen is reflecting mixers, mice, joysticks, you name it. So like there's so many things in this room that reflects light because I've lights everywhere. You know what I mean? But I think it's very, very, very impressive. I have to say, lads, this is a very impressive bit of kit.
Jesus.
You know, wasn't bothered by the lighting at Expo while we were using them. Yeah, no, they were very, very good. Very, very good. So the pricing, as I say, it's €469 per unit. But here's the thing. If you're going to be building, you know, a home cockpit, for example, right? You're going to say to yourself, yeah, I finally want to build my home cockpit. Well, this is how you're going to do it, because you're literally going to have one of these on one side of your table as a PFD, right? And then after a couple of months, you're going to buy a second one. And your yoke or your controls are going to be in the middle. And suddenly you now have 2 screens. For under €930 for 2 of them. Most of these single units are that price for 1, right? Now, there are other options out there. Of course there are. There's always going to be other options, depending on what you're looking for. MOZA, I don't know how they've managed to do it with the pricing on this. The pricing on this I would consider is exceptional value because it's the build quality. MOZA gear is just good gear. Anyone has MOZA, you know, the gear is good, right? And the build quality, how everything feels, the buttons, the responses, the switches, the little rubber switches, everything feels exactly as it should in the real aircraft. The monitor itself is quite light, and then the frame, the legs, there's a bit of weight to them. It probably will move on a desk if you're pushing buttons in, right? But you do have screw joints. Bit of Velcro invented by the Irish, that'll solve all your ailments. If you wanted to keep this in the one location, everything I use now is with Velcro, because if I need to move it, I'll move it. Otherwise, you don't want to be drilling into your desk. Right. I'm very, very impressed with this. I have to say, like when I was chatting to Zach about this, I said, the price, man, are you sure about this? He goes, yeah, that's what we're able to do. The only thing I think this is missing, and it's a catch-22, because if you were to put that feature on it, you're going to lose that price. It would be a touch screen. Having an option for a touch screen. The screen size itself is pretty big. I don't know what it is. I'll get the schematics here now. It's a 10.4-inch display. I mean, you could find an external IPS sensor that can sit on top of that, and hey presto, you have it. If MOZA were to release another unit, or maybe does an upgrade path, I don't know, if touchscreen became an option, this screen now becomes extremely powerful, because now you can put the likes of it, you know, your charts on it, full charts. You can put a GTN on it. You can put a G3X on it. You're no longer just tied to a G1000 aircraft. Again, because you're using something like glass out, right? And all these buttons, even though they have names of them and what they can do, and the MOZA software, you literally plug this thing in and it knows what all these buttons do. There is no button binding. It's all automatic. It's plug and play. If you want, though, you can turn that setting off, and then you can map each of these buttons to whatever it is you'd like. So now you can use these across multiple applications. It doesn't have to be a G1000 anymore. This could actually be your own custom bit of avionics. And you can, it's up to you what you want displayed on that screen. With glass out, you can actually have two screens on one screen. If I do something like this, you'll see it. If I move the mouse over to that screen, right? I mean, if you wanted to get very, very pernicatively, that's a new word for today, look. I mean, you literally have the option of creating your own custom avionics solutions using this hardware. Look at that. This is now a dual MFD and PFD. And you just have to use the settings in something like glass out to be able to figure out, okay, well, I want that to be here and that to be there. This is genius. And for general aviation users, lads, I think this is, considering we've seen so much over the last 2 years when it comes to hardware, this is aimed specifically at us general aviation pilots. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. So maybe this goes onto your Christmas list. If your loved one is watching, tell them this is what you want. For that price, I just think it's very, very good. If you're flying general aviation, this will get you very comfortable flying aircraft that are G1000 spec'd. The likes of the Kodiak, the likes of your Cessna 172, because it's very, very good. This is excellent. There's, as I said, the only thing I would love this unit to have would be a touchscreen. But if you did that, it would probably drive the price up a couple of $100, right? So does anyone have any questions? You can't mount it to a fixed panel. No, well, you can. Whoever said you can't, you absolutely can, right? It just needs some engineering. You can't mount it to a flat panel because you would have to drill in from the outside. Perhaps, yes. But it's not to say you can't fit this on a panel. You absolutely can fit this on a panel. Why can't you? Right? I mean, I don't know if you can drill, but I imagine you could. But outside of that, the mounts that we get on the back, and it's not just the VESA mounts, right? It's not just those VESA mounts. Hang on, let me bring up this camera again just to show you. Careful now, Murphy. Don't break the parish. Have a look at the mounts back here. You have to be creative in your creative space. See where the legs are mounted. You have 4 screw holes, right? 4 screw holes. Plus you have the VESA mount, if you want to go with the VESA, right? So, I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't do a bit of a bracket to drop this in. And then you might say, okay, well, how do we countersink it? Well, you probably could. You might have to get a little bit creative to countersink it. Or, indeed, you could build a bracket that goes around the corners. You know what I mean? If you built like a bit of if you built a flat bracket here that held it, and you did the same for the bottom. So it might have been an oversight from MOZA to say, yeah, we can't actually natively drill this in. But I think, you know, anyone building their own flight cockpit at home, they're very creative divils. They know exactly what to do and how to do it. Put a shelf behind your panel, screw it down. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, it's you can get very creative with this kind of stuff, I think. Do you know? You can do that with a printer. Yeah. So maybe it is an oversight. If there was 4 screw holes here, and considering this is what's holding this kind of face panel on, I reckon you could, if you wanted to get fierce, MacGyver-like, you probably could drill into that. You know what I mean? But I will say this, as a general aviation panel, this instrument alone, this will encourage you to be flying G1000 aircraft more and more and more. And I genuinely mean that. Yeah, just drill into it. What would be wrong? I might test that. But there's screws in behind it. You can see where these screws are here. These screws will obviously lift this place off. MOZA won't stand over any of this, by the way, if you start drilling into their lovely products. But it might be worth it for science, you know. My plan is to get a second one of these. That's how much I like it. And I'm going to have one permanently displaying a PFD, the other an MFD, and they're going to go either side of a flight control. This is genius. It really is. It's proper genius. And for the price, as I say, just incredible. Just incredible. And not only that, right, if you're saying, okay, well, the airplane I have, it doesn't have a G1000. Fair enough. Build your own G1000. You can use something like Air Manager. This is just a monitor. It doesn't care. And then all your buttons can interact with Air Manager. I mean, you can get... The sky is the limit of this stuff. You can really dial into this. Do you know what I mean? So we need the audio panel. Yeah. Yeah, like it's... Again, if you wanted to, I mean, you can turn this into an audio panel. Any screen that you can pop out in the sim, right? Again, if I go into glass out... hang on now. I'll go into glass out. I'll close them screens here now. And let's see what else we can pop out. Well, there's only really the EFB. Like if the GTN, I don't think that... Does the GTN pop out? GTN 750. Let's see. There's a good chance this will break. This is not designed to do that at all. Let's just see. We'll give it a minute, right? I can't seem to move this. I'm looking at my simulator. I think I completely shagged it. Oh wait, she's loading. Give it a second. Give it a second. Now here's a limitation because it's not touchscreen, right? This isn't a touchscreen screen. However, it's not impossible in the realms of all sort of, thinking that you couldn't still utilize this panel because we can use this ticket right here. We probably have to code it. But we can pretty much just use this as a mouse to be able to interact with all these buttons, you see. So here's a G1000, and then I can just use the G1000 on this, right? And then you can probably put another panel to one side. Hang on, I'll turn this guy on again. So there's a GTN 750. And all I need to do, I would have to use the simulator to change what these buttons actually do, because it's not a touchscreen. Unfortunately, this is not a touchscreen. If it was, sure, that's it, lads, But there's no reason at all why you couldn't have a GTN 750 that you can interact with a mouse movement, because that's what this little joystick is, right? And you can have another display here with other crucial stuff. You can still use your actual mouse. Of course you can. You can just use your mouse, look. And say the response time, like it's absolutely perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Use movie flight to map the buttons. Mobi flight, yeah. A touchscreen rotary knob simulated G1000, yeah. But this is excellent. It is excellent. Absolutely friggin' brilliant. How do I close this panel now? I've completely shagged it. Ooh, wait now. Whoop. No. How does one close this panel, Murph? I don't know how to close that now. That's not important. What is important is this equipment from MOZA is absolutely friggin' brilliant. And I hope this has helped your decision-making process to say, look, yeah, I've seen the gadget. I'm happy with it. I've no further questions. This is for me or it's not for me. If I've helped you in that regard, well, then I've done my day's work and I'm happy. As a pig in the proverbial. Turn off this camera now. Did a great job. Well done, camera. No, turn it off there now. You did it. Right. So we turned that off. That lives over there now. I'm going to put you back out of the way. Because this guy is going into a little area that I'm building. You see, a little area. So, yeah, if you have any questions on that, let me know. And I'm going to go over to the MOZA website. I'm going to show you the software for this here now as well, lads, right? So we'll do one of them, one of these, and back over here to our little screen. There's my little airplane running. And what we're going to have a look at here, I just want to show you the website. MOZA MGX1000, and here we go. So just to give you a further idea, right? You can see the idea, like see the picture here. Now I don't know how they mounted that, there's something going on in the background here. I don't know how they mounted it, but they mounted it. And here's 2 units side by side. You get the idea of what you can do with this. It's pretty class looking, isn't it? Who won the football, lads? Daz is here. Good to see you. Stu, hope you're well. So it's you can get more information over on the MOZA website. This is the European one, but you know, you can horse it across. Argentina won. I don't believe you. Jesus. Argentina won. England are out. Well, now it'd be Janie then. Isn't that terrible, terrible sad? Pubs with a real winner, right? That's Pilot, good to see you. Right, interesting stuff. Anyway, this is the MOZA stuff. Lads, check it out. I just think for general aviation pilots, just mind blown. This is exactly what we want. So, massive thanks for MOZA for sending that out. I've more stuff to show you next week when it comes to MOZA hardware, because I think they're just killing it right now. And we'll have to get Zach on for a chat at some stage as well, just to catch us up on all the things that are happening, right? But yeah, incredible stuff. So what we're going to do now, I just happen to be at an airport that I want to show you. This is a place called Netherthorpe, and it's in the United Kingdom. It's a brand new release from Burning Blue Design. Now, located near Worksop in Nottingham, close to the South Yorkshire border, Netherthorpe Airfield, one of the oldest continuously operating general aviation airfields in northern England. And this has a history. It was, you know, used by the Royal Air Force during the Second World War, and so on and so forth. So there's some new features that Burning Blue have baked into this scenery. So Burning Blue have been making these incredible bespoke, off the beaten track general aviation airfields for years. And this, you know, the attention to detail these lads do, it is absolutely stunning. So much so, the accuracy, they have billboards around the airport. You can literally ring the phone number. They are the legit phone numbers, right? So it is photo real. But what they've done here is something a little bit different, because they've managed to get their 100 or so 3D custom objects with modified interiors and static aircraft, animated signal squares, accurate runways, windsocks, animated spectators, night lighting. Apart from all of that, they're able to utilize the FS Explore compatibility, which means that we can open and close hangar doors manually, switch interior or exterior lighting on and off, and more importantly, doors can open and close based on the proximity of you, your avatar, which is pretty freaking cool, right? So they've definitely kind of gone in the direction of, well, we're doing science here, which is really nice, right? Because I love what Burning Blue Designs do, and their sceneries are just getting better and better. They really, really are, right? Google him now. Good to see you. Welcome in, lads. If I've missed anyone, hello, good evening. Thanks for joining us. But like, look at the friggin' texturing and the detailing, and isn't it class? Look how, like, that's proper. That's photogrammic or photo quality, photorealistic quality. Have a little. Would he be a ground safety officer or a flight safety officer? That's his position. Sheffield Aero Club. With interior. I mean, look at this. You're in the friggin' bar, look. How good is that? Skyways Bar. Tom Soup. Tom Soup? Tomato soup. There's a man having a coffee. What is this now? If you're planning to eat with us, we recommend you book in advance. And that number works. Flights with aircraft flown by David Howdle. I love this, man. This is where you can go and just explore. But isn't this brilliant? I love this with Burning Blue aircraft. English Electric Lightning. Ooh. Many fans of the English Electric Lightning. Out of interest. Isn't that class, isn't it? I I won't look through it all. Let you guys explore it. Jason, there's a fella by the rock. Welcome to the rock. Gibraltar, look. In a Comanche as well. Ah, brilliant. Do you know? Anyway. There's more. There's even the notice board. What's this? Suggestions. Food allergies and intolerances. For sale. There's some more stuff here. How cool is that look? The Skyways bar. Ah, Jesus, would you look at it though? I mean, would you just come on out of it, Eileen? Look. Skoda. Football's over. You're not. Seconds, I promise, Murph. I beat. Come out! Good to see you, bud. Was it a good match at least, or was it? Yeah, right. Do you know? We're here checking out some scenery. This is Burning Blue Designs. It's absolutely gorgeous. Talk about like the £100 burger destination, or in reality, the £295.50 burger destination. Friggin' price of inflation. Do you know?
Oh, Jesus.
I've about ground my jaw into dust. Oh. Skodas, yeah, brilliant. Duckery's Aviation. What else do we have? There's a Ford Transit. Oh, yeah. Jays, it's in a lovely location, isn't it? It's a small, quaint little airfield. It's available to buy right now over on the Burning Blue Design website for just £8.95, lads. Isn't that incredible value? This is really nice. Duckeries, not Duckeries. Is it Ducaries? So how do the hangar doors open? I think you just walk up to them. And there's settings you need to trigger. It's in the manual. How does one open the gadget? Hang on a second. We'll read the manual. Dukeries. Oh, Duckeries. Dukeries. Alright, listen. Dukeries. That makes sense. Right, let's have a look. Netherthorpe. Are these in like... Yes. 2024. Let's have a look. Open file. Burning Blue. Sim objects. Landmarks. No, I don't see a manual. I know there is a way you can do it though. It has the, like, we can change the time of day. That'll trigger it. But I think also if we walk up to it. So there's kind of evening time. There's the doors closing, look. Mind your head. I wonder. We walked through the door. That didn't work. Maybe it works down here. You have a soft spot for White Walton from Burning Blue. Burning Blue, first scenery ever reviewed. Ah, yeah. No, man, they really do go from strength to strength. It's pretty awesome. Let's see here now. Maybe I need to use... Yeah, maybe I have to use the program in order to make that work. There could be settings I'm missing to... You know what I mean? I imagine that's what the case is. But it's pretty at night time as well. Basic lighting, like what you expect from a small little airfield. But look at the locality you're in. Isn't this gorgeous? I once had to drive to workshop in the middle of the night from Ireland to deliver a bit of a machine from Galmoy Mines. Now. So great stuff here from Burning Blue Design. I absolutely adored this, man. This is brilliant. Definitely going to go and plan a flight to here. So excellent, excellent stuff. Now, moving on, I want to show you this. Now, you might say, yeah, I know, but the Bristol 188 I wanted, now you get two variants with this aircraft. We're going with the 926, right? And let me see, we'll rumble across the road here to Duxford. So this aircraft, bearing in mind the price of it, right? It is cheap and cheerful, £9, but this is a free update to existing owners, right? And well, the developer reached out and he dropped me an email. He said, "Murph, hope you're well. Listen, I've been working on the update. It's taken me over the past year to do it, right? And it's for the Bristol 188. It's a 2024 native model, and it's going to be available for free as a free update, hopefully next week. It's currently on sale, by the way, at $6.99. Anyway, the update has taken me over a year to complete, and it required a complete rework of the structure, code, and model to meet the new 2024 native requirements. It includes the following: native version, so it's no longer compatible with 2020. He managed to pop in the 2024 EFB. GPU has been modeled. Walk around with removable chocks, pedostatic, and engine covers. Walk around click spots. There's a new hydraulic system, a new fuel system, new electrical system. Simulated oxygen system has been added. Updated checklist. Updated engine glow, wet start, smoke, and reheat effects. Updated to 2024's LOD. Updated textures, including improved fuselage panel lines and updated windshield effects. Rain, icing, micro scratches, smudges, and thumb prints. Couple of pilot tips: the fuel pumps will need to be on to prevent fuel starvation of the engines, as well as the turbo generator to prevent an electrical failure due to the battery drainage. The next aircraft, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but sure, he didn't tell me not to say it. The next aircraft from TG Sims is going to be, wait for it, the English Electric P1A. That was the prototype to the English Electric Lightning. So that's what TG Sim are working on here. So I thought this was absolutely freaking brilliant, right? Now, let's have a look here now. So just like the 2020 version, we get a readout of what the aircraft is. The Bristol Type 188, the flaming pencil, right? And it goes through the usual stuff, the history of the aircraft, you know, how to install it and all this sort of jazz. And then we go down to, why is my Adobe so slow? Then you get a full readout of all the instruments inside the cockpit and all this kind of jazz, right? I don't know why my Adobe is having a fit here. But anyway, as we get down towards the bottom, here is XF926 at the RAF Museum at Cosford. So there's the real, there's the there's the real machine just here. How cool is that? Isn't that deadly, isn't it? So there's the real machine. So, ready to fly. Now, bearing in mind the price of this aircraft and considering the work he's done here is a free update, there's going to be limitations. The sounds, the textures, and a couple of things. So that's the side. However, there's a lot of good in this, and that's why I want to showcase them. So we can remove all these by clicking on them individually, right? And you can see, yeah, these are all brand new textures, which is looking all terribly shiny and nice, right? As we move around here, mind the wing, Murph, yeah, we get around that. There's one engine. Again, the price pretty much reflects this, right? Shift C gets rid of all the stuff, and then we'll jump into the cockpit. So, welcome to the cockpit. Now, first issue, if you zoom out past kind of standard default zoom, the wrong LOD engages. This shouldn't be an option if you have your view set up correctly. But if you find yourself having to zoom out, especially using the likes of Chase Plane, because that can go beyond the default sim, which makes a lot of sense. Developers, if they don't use Chase Plane, they'll only code the aircraft to what they have in front of them. But just be aware, it's an issue if you zoom out. All right. So whatever way you're setting up your views, you're going to know. What else can we do here? So we can open up our doors. Release. How do I do this? Open. There we go. So we can open up the canopy. There's no audio sound from the canopy moving. It is what it is. We can also engage a GPU unit. Hello, GPU. Pretty cool, right? That's all new. We'll close the canopy. And we're going to start this machine up. Now, what makes this thing interesting, it's because this was built as a testing aircraft. She was built as a test aircraft. It wasn't built to do anything else. P.S. Miranda, you got to see it. And it looks friggin' nuts, doesn't it? It was a successful failure, is what this was. It was designed as a testing aircraft. So you would never ordinarily have seen this anywhere, never mind being able to fly it, if only because we have this developer, TG Sims, who worked on it, right? So let's see, can I mess this up and try and start it? Oh, buttons. Yes, loads of buttons. Press all the buttons, Murphy, you can do it. Yeah, turn all our fuel tanks on, we need those. Engine starter, turbo gen. I think that's all my electrical power on. I think it is. Well, we'll see if this thing can sing. So let me see. Engine starter, master switch on, right side engine, press and hold. And let's see what happens. Yes, we have rotation. And we'll hear some sounds. Chris, a very good evening to you, bud. Breaking news, Murph. DSD Sim have just released their Extra 300. Oh, nice! That was the Red Bull racing aircraft that actually had racers involved. That's pretty cool. Now that's looking for fuel. Fuel? What else are you looking for, Betsy? Fuel? Okay, we do the same on the left side. She's loud, isn't it? No wonder it never hit its intended speeds. It had DH Gyron Junior engines. They were notoriously underpowered. Agreed. Okay, right side is alive. Let's wait on the left side to spool. There's ignition going in. There she comes up. Rid of the GPU. Look at our airspeed indicator, lads. Knots, Mach. Isn't it mad? All right, she's running. Keep an eye on her fuel. All right, let's witness a bit of history here. Isn't it very loud? Now, there's one bug I've come across, lads, and it's to do with the visual effects, right? Brian, good to see you. The visual effects seem to have a massive impact on the frame rates. It doesn't happen in every view. It's only when you're up close to the aircraft at full throttle. This will absolutely park your frame rate. So that's feedback I need to give to the dev. See the way we have this visual effects, right? This is a little bit detrimental to the aircraft performance. Everything else is really nice, but that's an issue. So hopefully they can fix that. You'll also notice we've no lights on this aircraft. Except for maybe a beacon. But I think it's a fascinating bit of British aviation history and engineering, isn't it? So, mind your ears, Julian. Not to flaps. Flight controls. Power coming in. 80%. 90%. Off the brakes. Up the hill. Burners go. Gear up. Flaps in.
60% of the time.
So with the afterburners, it has these like spill valves. It's like they kind of reignite and cut out. I don't know, is that like a setting? This is where I get an issue. If you look at my FPS, it's now dropped to 90, which you might say isn't bad. But considering it's 6-time frame jet, right? Now if I go back inside the cockpit, it goes from 90, give it a moment, and it'll fully recover and it'll go back up to 200 odd. So the visual effects he has at the back of the aircraft, they're shagged. They're shagged, right? Chronos, thank you for the follow. Interesting machine though, isn't it? Isn't it mad looking? And what I really like, this is a free update. Like, look at her airspeed. You can see the knots and then also the Mach moves as well. So Mach 1. Nice, nice. Not dead, isn't it? But home. It looks great. That stainless steel kind of finish to it. Brushed aluminium. Now, in terms of maneuverability, very little. And the reason being is it was a test aircraft for speed and also how heat, was generated around it. And if you look at the size of the wings, not very big at all. And look at those engines. Like absolutely crazy engineering, wasn't it? But it's good to see that, the passion behind this project, it's very much alive and well in 2024. Hats off to the developer. There's a couple of fixes the aircraft needs. The performance is a major one. Also the zoom factor. Right? But yeah, Eisenberg, yeah, I mean, this is where the different countries were just working on their own ideas and... It's it, lads. It's like, I think, what's the price on SimMarket right now? So it's €7.99 right now over on SimMarket. For $8, it's for nothing. Like, it's for nothing. So massive thanks to the developer for letting me know that there was a free update. We checked it out. it's not trying to be study level. But if anything, I mean, isn't it a great way to learn about this sort of history? I think it's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Excellent stuff. Right. And now for something completely different. Because, friends, we're now going to look at our final add-on for this evening, and it's some scenery. Right, it's some scenery. So let me see. Letterquare. And I'm going to load into Foins. Just here. During the day. Because what we're looking at here is a new scenery release from Dead Reckoning Simulations. This is available, again, it's over on Sim Market. You can pick it up for about $20. But what it is, this one is called Flying Boat Ports of Call for Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. It's a premium collection of 5 historic flying boat destinations and North Atlantic weather ships for Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, designed specifically for flying boat, seaplane, and historic aviation enthusiasts. The package combines detailed scenery, custom models, immersive audio, and enhanced maritime environments to create a unique operating experience unavailable anywhere else in the sim. Those are fighting words. Now, the areas included, as I find myself in the middle of nowhere, the areas they give us, I don't know how to pronounce this, Hythe. Is it Hythe in the United Kingdom? Foynes, Shadiac in Canada, Botwood in Canada, and Port Washington in the United States. It also includes 13 navigation weather ships spread out in the North Atlantic. This is now, you know, put yourself back in time here for a minute, right? So what we have, and I've a small glitch with some of the scenery. I need to reach out to the developer. But what we have here, lads, is something I think is pretty cool. Because flying boats, they are a thing of the past. They're kind of coming back now as like a luxury. But what we have here in Foynes in Ireland was one of the most busiest and most important locations back in the day between travel from the United States and to Europe. So naturally, Foynes became extremely busy. It's also the home of Irish coffee. It was invented here in Foynes. So with the scenery, we get some static aircraft. Can anyone name this machine? I need to ask him why he put this in Foynes. This just wouldn't have been in Foynes in the 30s, but, you know, she's a Sunderland, yeah. I don't know why that's there, because that just wouldn't have happened. But what is here, which is critically important, is a Clipper, a Boeing 314 from Pan Am. And these things is what frequented the harbour at Foynes in the 1930s. How cool is this? If you've ever been to Foynes, you can go down to the Flying Boat Museum, right? And there's loads of details here, by the way. We get lots and lots of cool details. Let's we'll ramble up to where the stuff is. Here's a man talking to a very tall woman. She's like your one out of that Resident Evil game. Yeah, that's the one, Toto, yeah. So we have all these kind of period correct vehicles, and there's all different kind of posters on the wall. The United States Travel Bureau, right? And if we move across and up, this is where I'm having an issue with textures on the ground. Here is fine with the boats and the quay wall. It's just over here there's a bit of an issue. It's like it's missing a texture file. I tried to load it in twice, couldn't make it work. Warmth and cheer in every glass, Irish coffee. A good blend of Irish whiskey, hot coffee, sugar and cream. Irish coffee was invented here. And then up the road in Shannon, duty free was invented there. But anyway, so you get the idea. Look, we have these period vehicles. Right? This is pretty cool, isn't it? Hogs. And we have this building, which today, of course, is the Flying Boat Museum in Foynes. And that's still there. There's a visitor centre here with a cafe. And I gotta love this kind of stuff. Ireland Fly Panel, the world's most experienced airline. There's no interior, there's a dog, Benji. And then if you ramble up to the lock tower, or the harbour tower, there's a man standing looking out the window. Not only that, you have the train station across the road, which to this day is still there. Again, we got some really nice period vehicles and lights. There's a tractor. There's the sound of a train. And there's actually a train, look. Trains! There's a train, look! I mean, isn't it only deadly? Now there's a bit of work to be done with where the sounds come from and whatnot. I mean, you can't hear that train when you're all the way down here. You know. But it's great to see. That cool looking? So let's come back down to the harbour. And like they've added in all these additional details to the harbour at Foynes. Look. All the work areas and so on and so forth. And then up here we have the harbour, proper harbour. So here's the back of the train station where I left you off. Great Southern Railroads, look. And we have sound effects because what we have here, we actually have a dry dock. Do you hear the sounds? So again, it's all period correct vehicles and supplies and all the jazz, right? And then there's a dry dock. And then we have a ship. But you get the idea. This is very much supposed to be flying back in the 1930s into Ireland, into Foynes, because back then this was a hub of activity. Like, you want to check out the flying Foynes Flying Boat Museum. So this is what it looks like here in the real world. There's the building, look. Right? And they actually have a Boeing Clipper rebuilt. Now, it's not an official... What's the word I'm looking for? A mock-up of a Boeing Clipper. Because there's none of them left, of course. Irish Coffee Centre, the Maritime Museum, Aviation Museum. And this is where you can visit the Flying Boat Museum in Foynes. It's very, very good. Replica, that's the one. 'Tis very, very good. There's a tenner to get in. Didn't Ian Fisher come here one year? I think he did. I've been here a couple of times. I enjoy it. I've been here probably 4 times. And it's very, very interesting. Very interesting. And you can actually walk around that clipper on the inside. Your one, O'Regan, what was your one's name? Was it Maureen O'Regan, Maureen O'Hara? Didn't she marry a Clipper pilot? Right? Our history timeline. Look at that, the Clipper, like. Absolutely incredible, lads, isn't it? Flying Boat Museum. Foynes became the centre of the aviation world from 1937 to 1945. Pan Am's luxury flying boat, the Yankee Clipper, landed at Foynes, became the first commercial passenger flight on a direct route from USA to Europe. How mad is that? And all the VIPs who would have came to Ireland for the very first time travelling to Europe. I mean, be Janie then. Isn't that mad? Isn't that mad? Eleanor Roosevelt? John F. Kennedy? Isn't that mad? Very, very cool. But anyway, this scenery, which is being developed, where's that button? Developed by Dead Reckoning. It's not just foins. They've included more of these correct to that period, which includes Hythe in Southampton, Shediac in Canada, Botwood in Canada, and also Port Washington in the United States. This is available right now over on Sim Market. It's around $18 plus taxes. And if you're kind of looking at this and you're getting kind of the Red Wing simulations vibe, they helped out. The developers were telling me, look, we want to give a massive thanks to Red Wing because they really helped us on this project. Have I got the manual for this just to show you? Where have I got this now? Here we go. So, welcome to the golden age of flying. Good day, Captain. Welcome to Dead Reckoning Simulations Flying Boats, Port of Call, the North Atlantic. The package, you will find 5 custom built marine aerodromes that were the base of the North Atlantic route back in the 1930s. And that's where we have them. So New York, New Brunswick, Newfoundland, Limerick, and Southampton. All right. Also includes 13 weather ships spread out across the Atlantic Ocean. So you can kind of get an idea of how they all look. So here is Port Washington, one of America's most important gateways to transcontinental or transoceanic, right? Shediac, New Brunswick, right? Botwood, Foynes, as we've just looked at, right? And Hythe, or Hythe, I don't know how to pronounce it. Vickers Supermarine, look. They even have the Vickers Supermarine. Vickers Supermarine? They even have the Supermarine factory there, which is 100% accurate, because that's not where Mitchell came up with the idea. She was supposed to be a racing aircraft. So that's pretty cool, right? That is pretty cool. And we get all the history then and all the kind of stuff. And then we get the locations of the weather ships. Weather ships were a thing back in the day. These ships would go out and patrol and they were just for the weather. Interesting, very interesting. Then more came. Then the crack really happened. But anyway, weather ships stationed across the North Atlantic were vital when it came to aircraft. Amongst other things. Ship locations. So wouldn't that be cool to say, right, on this route, we need to go find this? Supermarine owned by Vickers, yeah. So the developer would like to thank Red Wing Simulations. A brilliant individual has helped me so much by learning the way around the dev side. Flight Level 24, another dev, very happy to help them out. And the Foynes Flying Boat Museum, a great source of information, an all-round fantastic group of people. And I would echo that. They're a lovely bunch of people down there. If you ever get the chance to come over to Ireland, go down to Shannon, go out the estuary and go down to the Foynes Flying Boat Museum. It's very good. Very, very good. So I wanted to show you this. I think it's absolutely brilliant. If you're into that old flying boat type of flying, the Lattaquair, I mean, pilots made the Clipper, but like, let's be honest, they just never got it to where it should have been. You know what I mean? Yeah, like Scott, 100%. We just need someone to like rebuild that Boeing Clipper, because what a shame. However, the Lattaquair, this aircraft recently updated with the AAU update for Sim Update 5. This is a spectacular flying boat, and it's huge. Look at it, it's massive. So yeah, lots of fun can be had there. Now, another project also from the same developer, which I didn't showcase tonight. This one is called Little America Antarctica 1929, right? So, step back in time at the dawn of polar aviation with a meticulously recreated Little America, just as it appeared during Admiral Richard Byrd's 1928-29 Antarctic expedition. The scenery brings to life the historic base on the Ross Ice Shelf, built for exploration, survival, and pioneering long-range flights. It includes the base at Little America, 8 emergency fuel depots, virtual library system, which interactive books linked to historical documents, photographs, and expedition records, optional exploration missions, immersive audio, and they've included little nav map support. This add-on is about, 8 books or whatever. But it gives you the idea. Jesus, can we not just, get in there? That's what she said, don't I? But look at this, isn't this cool? If this was your thing, and it's not going to be everyone's thing, if your thing was using these really old aircraft to go off and figure out what aviation was like back then, it's I love this, man. I think this is fascinating. Because you talk about pioneers, I mean, these guys wrote the book, right? They wrote the book. No one did it before them. And it's like Time Machine Designs, and there was another developer who did, was it Red Wing? They did Arrows Across America. They're pretty cool. I love this stuff because you learn so much with how they, Jesus, how did they navigate back then? Literally flying over fire pits and stuff, Guerrilla gaming, yeah, it's cool, man, isn't it? It's cool. So that's all available now. It's over on simmarket.com. The one we were checking out tonight, of course, is the flying boat protocol, which is this one. And as I said, the one on Foynes is friggin' awesome. There just wouldn't have been a Sunderland and Foynes, to be fair. But apart from that, yeah, I'm missing kind of these textures here, so I don't know. There's something in my sim that's disagreeing with this. It looks an awful lot better. I mean, look at that. The train. Dad, game time. Good to see you. That's awesome. Catalina in there. Freaking U-boat or an S-boat. It's just cool, man. It's a great way to learn. Talking of Antarctic exploration, I passed RS Discovery. Or RS Discovery. Ooh, nice. Nice. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool now. So we've covered a fair bit of ground this evening between this week's Flight Sim news, the MOZA MGX1000. That's just insane hardware. It's absolutely brilliant. The TG Sims Bristol 188. And now we have all of this scenery available if you want to go back and see what life is like during the time of the flying boats. And what a way to travel, lads. This was the price of a ticket was like a year's salary or something. But what a way to travel. It used to take them, was it 17 hours to get across the Atlantic in a flying boat? Which was unheard of. What was the fastest crossing across the Atlantic by boat? Was it 5 days? 17 hours. This is light speed. Do you know? And it didn't last very long. I suggest you check out the top tier VATS and banter I posted in the Bremen bar. What you do now? See, this is where the crack is going to be. What am I missing? RAF. Oh, Jesus. What did Adam put up? Painful. Yous are a great bunch of lads. England, it must be very sad now that they're out of the World Cup. How did they not win that, though? Was it a crap game or was it an alright game? How did the game actually go? The Arctic one to give me a reason to use your planes as skis. Yep. But yeah, no, that's pretty cool. Very interesting. Right, lads, that's going to do it for this evening. I want to thank you all so very much for coming in and putting up with my mischief for the last couple of hours on a very busy night that it was. I'm going to go off now and catch up with all the details from the Inibills and Synaptech stream. So we'll have to see what the crack is. And yeah, as I said, with that hardware from MOZA, absolutely incredible. And all the updates that we've seen here tonight. And the news as well from SayIntentions. Don't forget what we covered there with the new visual approach, visual chart approach is. And also they have a stuff coming when it comes to GSX. It's going to be absolutely insane. And if you use GSX, this is a game changer. Game changer. I cannot wait for you to learn more about what they're working on. But lads, as always, thank you so very, very much indeed. Again, a massive congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Toto, 21 years married today, and to Jaken's dad, who celebrated his 70th birthday yesterday. Shag off, Cybok, there's no refunds. Massive congratulations to all. Commiserations to England in the football. Well done to Argentina. And come on, Ireland. We're up against the All Blacks on Saturday morning. And come on, the Skoda. She passed the NCT today. Brilliant, great news. Right, lads, we're back tomorrow morning. We're going to be doing some on-air... we're actually flying with our own airline tomorrow. We're going to be looking at the jobs board, right? We're going to be taking an actual job with On Air, go fly it, make some money, and then land it. Then we're going to prep for tomorrow night's Vatsim flight. We're going to be flying from Auckland down to Queenstown in New Zealand. Very much looking forward to that. And yeah, as I say, if you want to be jumping in on these flights, just jump in. Just jump in. Caravan should be at CAG shortly. Thank you, Malky. And yeah, that'll be kick-off tomorrow at 10 o'clock Zulu in the morning. And yeah, until then, lads, thank you all so very, very much indeed. You're absolutely brilliant. And I'll see you tomorrow after a few hours. Until then, where's the button? You take care. Imagine if I pressed the wrong button, though. Jesus. Right, good luck to you. Fancy pedals.
Fancy pedals.
Uh-oh.
No. This is... Listen. It's a hurricane. It's a hurricane. Oh, power off. Bit of right rudder. Bleed that speed. Oh, look at that. I gotta brake. Brake now. Brake. Oh, wait, where's your button? Here you are.
It's a fake.
Oh, in a hurricane.
He put it onto easy mode.
Thank you very much.
Look at the state of that for a landing.
Can I just say, if you're busy any evening on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm available.
Will you give me like tutorials or something? Will you?
I'll do it.
But the mod control, from a viewer perspective, it makes the whole thing quite negative, doesn't it? When you delete, you're sitting there and you're thinking, Jesus, this is painful to watch. This is like watching the end of Glen Rowe or